Is it season 5 of Baywatch already? It seems like only yesterday we were making fun of Hobie 1 and laughing at Eddie's misfortunes. Oh shit, that was 3 years ago? The series is never getting finished. Summer ran off at the end of last season to go to college, but unfortunately she ran into the sea and didn't stop, so now she's dead. Presumably. So she's gone, and we can make way for our 2 new leads. You'll remember Caroline, Stephanie's sister, right? I introduced her as a new main character and she never showed up again. That's because I forgot when she became a lead. Give me a break, guys. It's been years since I watched through this series, and there's a lot to keep track of. But now she's here for realsies, to be a pain in Stephanie's ass for 3 seasons to come. Joining Caroline is Logan Fowler, our new Australian but incompetent character. He's played by Jason Simmons, who, funny enough, started out on Paradise Beach, Australia's soap opera Baywatch knockoff. Oi, I've got a role on the real thing now. Get stuffed, you drongos! Michael Burke was super excited to bring Logan's character in because, I quote, "We finally had a bad boy to write about." Excuse me, does Trevor Sandwich Rejection Cole ring a bell to you, Mr. Burke? I'm on cereal boxes back home. The only thing people remember about me is that cool running flip I did. Oi! Also according to Burke, this was the season Pamela really came into her own and was literally born into the world. This is not only untrue in that the reason she was cast was because of how famous she was anyway, and in fact she didn't show up for the auditions and they begged her to come on, but also in that I highly doubt she was literally born into the world at 27. Also, fun fact, did you know Pamela Anderson was the first baby born after Canada's 100th anniversary and is their centennial baby? Just thought you'd like to know. Other than that, I gotta mention this guy I keep seeing in the credits called Ledge Musselman, which sounds more like a Reb Brown character than a real person. I don't know where he is in any episodes, or if you can spot him, as he appears to be a professional stand-in. Ledge, if you're watching, please let me know when your autobiography is coming out, because I'm dying to know everything. Anyway, let the two-parter commence! You know, guys, I was just thinking, this is the season where Pamela really came into her own. New agey stuff. Anyway, who cares about ominous foreshadowing? Radical skating montage, dudes! Hey, fellow teens, mind if I join? Legit question, does David Hasselhoff really not know how to skate? I'm surprised this made it to the final cut, what with all the Mitch butt kissing.
Dad, what's up with that? You're a better rollerblader than any of us.
I know that, and you know that, but they don't know that.
Oh man, covered that one up nicely. I'm actually a better rollerblader than anyone else. I was just faking it. It's not weird. CJ visits Mitch to ask him about the earthquake she felt that morning, and also to say awkward lines like this.
My entire bed almost collapsed. Thank God there was no one under it.
Quick poll, does CJ have a really weird sex life, or does she still believe in monsters under the bed? Meanwhile, Stephanie, in her new haircut, has totally forgotten about Coast Guard, because now she's with geologist Riley Ferguson. Coast Guards are so last season. Geologists are where it's at now. I hope no one notices I'm the guy who played Eddie's schizophrenic brother just with a beard.
I can skate. Who says I can't skate? Was it you? I'll fight anyone!
Riley mentions his love of free diving, and Mitch acts super judgmental as usual.
You ever try it, Mitch? Oh, yeah, but I actually started developing gills, so I had to cut back.
Did you hear that? I started to develop gills? Man, I'm clever.
Seriously, Mitch, you were, air quotes, pretending not to know how to skate to impress some random bikini babes. Get over it whenever Stephanie wants to get some action. During a rescue, where everyone competes over who has the least convincing cry for help,
Support.
Exchange lifeguard Logan appears on the scene, and our crew act as if he's always been there. To prove he's a totally separate character from Trevor, he ignores a male victim so he can rescue a pretty lady. You know, the exact same thing from the pilot. At last, they can finally write this story they already wrote. After receiving a talking to by Eyebrows, CJ tells the boys to cool their jets.
My mate is just jealous. I beat him to the rescue, and the poor boy didn't get the hero worship he was after.
Did the acting get worse this season, or am I suddenly becoming less desensitized to it?
Now, your hot dog tactics may have worked for you in Australia, but they have no place on our beach.
Are you as empowered a woman as you are a lifeguard?
I'm sure these lines connected in someone's head. And he's not fired for sexual harassment. Why? Well, Summer might be gone, but guess who is inexplicably still around? That's right, it's Jackie, and she's less relevant than ever. She's just here for her send-off, but I mean, why? We all accepted Summer breaking up with Eyebrows and going to college via a throwaway line, and actually 0% of the audience was wondering about Jackie's fate after that. And yet, here we are. Speaking of bizarre things, Hobie and his friends accidentally lose some of their photos, and it's picked up off the beach by a hook-handed gentleman. Yup. And he disappears like a phantom into... the Death Pier.
Pretty spooky, huh, folks?
But he's not magic, he's just creepy.
Is the snapshot you're looking for?
I'm just your friendly neighborhood bum. I'm misunderstood, which is why I hide under piers to lure children in and ask them to creepily touch my hook arm. Hee! Life lessons will be learned today.
Thanks.
Are you two having a date in there? Shut up, CJ. Don't mess this up for me.
Hey!
Now, where were we?
Son of a dick! You're having a date without me?
Cock blocked again!
Shockingly, Baywatch remembers that Caroline was getting married the last time we saw her, and after that whole two-parter where her fiancé was almost murdered and they fought for his justice, turns out he was just a big fat serial cheater. Now she's single and ready to mingle. She's moving in with the gals.
Hey guys, I'm still in a band. This is a thing we're doing. Jeremy Jackson forever. I guess this is my post-puberty voice.
Let's do it one more time. This time, do it like we're on MTV.
Whoa, a kid standing by a river repeating "you can run" over and over again? Just like MTV, dudes! This girl's not even looking at him. She's just really impressed with the camera.
Puberty.
I really want to be happy again. You will be.
Not if God has anything to say about it. That's right, we're doing an earthquake again. Here are the various misfortunes that follow. Stephanie's geologist boyfriend is trapped while diving, Hobie is buried in a garage, Jackie's trailer is hanging precariously off a cliff edge, the Death Pier comes for creepy hook-hand man, Eyebrows is buried in reused footage of Eddie's truck sinking, yet more footage is reused from the last earthquake episode at Baywatch headquarters, Gal's night is ruined, and Mitch is interrupted while pouring some life cereal. Okay, so let's break this down. Baywatch is not only reusing a plot they already did, but they're reusing the mini-plots contained in it and hoping we forgot. A. Sunken truck. B. A diver trapped underwater. And C. Someone with an object about to fall on them. And Hobie was involved with the last one the first time. I mean, both episodes are about earthquakes, but there's rehashing and then there's just being lazy. Thank God I made it out! Thanks for that plot, Eyebrows.
Oh, but you idiot! This is what you get for trying to have a music career. Face it, you'll never be as good as David Hasselhoff.
It's gonna fall! Oh no!
Yeah, on second thought, the acting has gotten worse.
Y'all have any life cereal in here?
Via gratuitously used news footage from a real earthquake, we learn the city is in shambles and in need of some rescue. Baywatch is gonna be super busy the next 40 minutes, that's for sure. Good work, Eyebrows.
In Australia, there's always time for more sexual harassment.
He literally just waltzes over from creepily grabbing CJ to Caroline so he can hit on her, and somehow she's charmed by his advances?
I have depressingly low standards.
We have just seen the trailer move slightly, which is not good news considering how close it is to actually falling off the cliff.
We'll be sure to generate lots of wind with our helicopter to ensure that if anyone's inside, they'll meet a swift and horrible demise. Look, Summer's in the episode now. Please keep me on the show. Somehow, Mitch and Eyebrows are able to wordlessly signal to the news chopper to fly low and let them dangle off the edge. I can't say I've ever been in this situation, but this seems like a liability lawsuit waiting to happen. Whee! At this point, the helicopter lands and they say they have a harness, so presumably Mitch can put that on, they can hold the other end, and he scales the cliff edge to the door to get Jackie out. In fact, the door's close enough he wouldn't even need to go all the way over. But instead, this happens.
Pretty cool, huh, folks? My save, Jackie. I get the cafe now.
What?
Never mind, I'll give it to my wife.
So do we. Know each other?
Hobie suddenly remembers Hookhand Man, who lives under the pier, and helps Caroline rescue him.
Hobie, it looks like you learned a lesson about pride today.
That's not what this was about.
10 years of slow-motion diving footage later, Stephanie and company have freed a geologist boyfriend from his watery tomb. Precisely no one was worried if he survived or not. Meanwhile, Hobie sculpted this elaborate sandcastle to ominous music? Why? Hobie whines dramatically about how much he's afraid of earthquakes now and begs Mitch to pack up their bags and move. This calls for a heartbreaking, emotional explosion.
Yeah, well, they weren't almost killed, were they?
You punch that sandcastle, Hobie! Punch it with all your heart! After that, Hobie asks to go live with his mother. This calls for a sad montage. Where Caroline and Logan sexily wash a truck together? Yeah, Jackie, I'm not sure anyone wants your death trailer now. And then it just abruptly ends with more sexy car washing? Okay then, I'll kill you!
Next time on Baywatch,
Mitch and Gail decide to get remarried. Meanwhile, Logan and Eyebrows fight over Caroline. Deja vu! Unusually, Baywatch is expecting audiences to remember the previous episode this time, so here's a recap for those people who have lives. Baywatch had another earthquake, Hobie almost died, and with a new fear of natural disaster, decides to move away to live with his mother in a non-climax. And now, the thrilling conclusion. Remember how suspenseful and interesting the Summer Slade Eyebrows love triangle was? Well then you'll love the Caroline-Logan Eyebrows love triangle. Desperate to impress her, Logan takes Caroline out for a spin on a Wave Runner TM! Oh, sorry, I meant Wave Runner.
I thought you said you wanted to learn how to ride a wave runner.
Fun fact, did you know that in real life, Alexandra Paul has an identical twin sister also named Caroline? She's a firefighter and sounds completely awesome. Now, I can safely say she's not an actress, but she's gotta be better than this. Apparently, Logan is supposed to be charming in this universe, so Caroline is super into him. Even Numi is impressed with his tanned bod and average features.
You gotta admit he's good.
What, just because he's got a couple hotshot moves?
No, because he stole Stephanie's sister right out from underneath your nose.
Oh man, Eyebrows, might as well close up shop now. There's no recovering from that crushing blow. Their romantic Wave Runner date is interrupted by a stupid accident. Oi, this looks like a job for the Daring Dingo.
I can help!
Damn, Caroline, you've been in 4 episodes and already nearly drowned twice. I love how Eyebrows and Numi only seem mildly concerned, and also have no intention of stepping in to help with that surfer. Yeah, whatever, Pepsi! Oh hey Hobie, what a thrilling return. Thanks for leaving us in suspense, Baywatch. That's right, Hobie's back in town and over his fear before we even had a chance to miss him, and he's brought someone special along. When we last saw Gail, she was engaged to Flash Gordon, who truly loved her despite his cowardly actions when they were trapped under the sea. Mitch gave them his blessing, a rare moment of maturity, and a sign that he was finally moving on with his life. But guess what? That guy's gone! She's totally single now, baby! Speaking of thrilling returns, as you can see by this cleverly hidden A&W vending machine logo, the show has moved on to sponsor Pepsi again.
A&W? What A&W? I've always been a Pepsi man.
Meanwhile, Eyebrows chastises Logan for leaving inexperienced Caroline on the Wave Runner TM, while he went to rescue the surfer he and Numi didn't care about. Logan gets straight to the point.
You can't stand the fact that Caroline wants to be with me.
Should I speak up on my behalf? Better not. I'm simply a trophy. Matt!
Wait, is she getting mad at Eyebrows for getting punched?
I'm in the scene too!
Mitch sure is smug this episode, isn't he? Pretty impressive how they're able to watch the flashback wedding montage from the second reunion episode, too.
I decided to play it silently this time. I hate that David Hasselhoff song we had over it.
As Gail's been subtly hinting the whole episode, she's considering getting back together with Mitch for the millionth time. As they sit alone together in the living room and Mitch crams his face with popcorn, romance is in the air. Gail admits that she couldn't marry Flash Gordon because she was still in love with Mitch. This seems familiar.
And he's asked me to marry him. But sometimes when I'm with him, I start thinking about you.
Damn, that makes 2 of her marriages that Mitch has broken up because of his uncontrollable sex appeal.
Mom!
Looking hot.
You mean you were here all night?
Yes, I was.
On the couch?
On the floor, actually.
Look, you don't have to be so open about your sex life with your son, Gail. A simple yes would have sufficed.
Your father and I are getting married again.
Well, that progressed quickly. Oh yeah, we love being together. We're gonna be married forever. This definitely isn't a guest spot. Nothing could ever go wrong. The whole song is just an excuse for David Hasselhoff to creepily whisper "Summer of Love" seductively to the audience.
Summer of love, summer of love. Out of my shot, Hobie!
Oh, to discover that you're in love after all these years. That's so romantic.
Buy Gatorade!
Mitch and Gail waste no time. Their wedding is happening this episode! Upon hearing the news, inconsistent Stephanie realizes she wants what she can't have.
They're getting married, but I have no random hunkola of my own. This is the worst news I've ever heard. I've got to go correct someone stat.
Meanwhile, Logan and Eyebrows have been assigned Dory duty, a patrol that involves teamwork to try and get them to resolve their differences, but also an excuse for gratuitous ab shots. Gee, these 2 well-oiled men aren't working together well at all. I hope some school children aren't endangered on their watch.
Does anybody know what causes the tide to come in?
I do. The moon.
Thanks, Mila Kunis. This line wasn't that interesting, but she'll be famous in the future, so I'm featuring it.
Boys, look out!
Oh well, you got 6 more of them.
Everybody get out of here. Most famous people first.
No more wankering off. Let's go.
Oi, Americans don't know wankering means to masturbate, so I can say it on a family program. No more stroking our dicks. Let's go save some children.
Abs to the rescue!
Thank God we stopped cranking our shafts long enough to save you.
Now Mitch and Gail are talking about having more kids? If they lay it on any thicker, Gail is gonna be dead by the end of this episode. She voices her concerns that part of the reason they broke up was because he put his career over their marriage. But I'm sure that won't come into play again. Anyway, it's a fully uniformed lifeguard wedding on the beach.
This is happening so fast, you know? You're not usually this impulsive.
Excuse me? Mitch, every woman I meet as Hobie's new mom, Buchannon, isn't impulsive? What show have you been watching, Stephanie?
It feels nice to prove to Gail that not everything in my life is about lifeguards.
This is fucking ridiculous. But hell yeah, Garner is his best man.
Isn't this great, Caroline? It's like the wedding you never had on account of your cheater fiancé.
Yeah, or maybe it's like the wedding you did have in a marriage that crumbled apart and left you a single old crone.
Whose kid am I holding?
I can't wait for this to all pan out. Unfortunately, a nearby boat finds an old sea mine? Murphy's Law at work, people.
My save!
My save!
My save! My save!
Okay. Admittedly, this looks kind of bad for Mitch, and maybe they could have prevented this if they'd kept any lifeguards on duty and not used their trucks and towers as wedding accessories. But in the interest of fairness, it is a pretty bitchy move to expect him to not save lives to keep their marriage afloat.
I'm sorry, Mitch.
And Gail is gone from the show forever. Hey, check it out. Doesn't Mitch look like an elf here?
Hey there, champ. I know this messes with your emotions due to circumstances that feel like your fault, but I just want you to know that it actually is. You ruined our marriage a second time. Let's go.
Next time on Baywatch, Court is back, and he wants Mitch to enter a dune buggy race in Mexico. Meanwhile, Eyebrows and Logan immediately give up on Caroline to go hit on some other women. That's amore! Yeehaw! It's the return of John Didn't You Miss Me Court. This show has been hurting without its lovable schemer around, so it's time to get back to what made Baywatch great. But first, a little about John Allen Nelson. I love this guy. He's just instantly charismatic in anything I've seen him in. He even got me to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space, a movie that I'd previously been too scared to finish. He's just got this incredible likability, and, not to mention, he's got an 8-pack. So when he was brought onto Baywatch in the middle of season 1, it was mandated by the network, who wanted more eye candy. Which means he was basically foisted upon a show made by people who didn't want him around. The other leading men, worried about getting less screen time or being replaced, proceeded to not invite him to parties or make him feel welcome in the slightest.
The guys were great, but I'd come in to work on Monday morning and hear about the cast party that had been had over the weekend that no one told me about. That happened 4 or 5 or 6 times. So I don't know that I was really accepted, truly accepted.
But thank God when he left, the show stopped focusing so much on eye candy and got to the real stories, am I right? So, I don't know, I imagine things got better, or maybe he was offered a decent chunk of money for these sporadic returns he makes to the show. He seems like a real professional and is always a welcome sight. As this is also a Mitch episode, and it's something I haven't covered yet, I'd like to talk about David Hasselhoff as well. You might recall an episode last season called Second Time Around, which was mostly a springboard for Jeremy Jackson's future failed singing career, but also ended with a generous ego stroke to David Hasselhoff's currently failing music career. While he was huge across seas, particularly in Germany, his musical talents were left unappreciated by American audiences. And so, in the summer of 1994, between seasons 4 and 5 of Baywatch, he held his first American concert, a pay-per-view called David Hasselhoff and His Baywatch Friends. Yes, I'm serious. But it gets better. The night of this event was June 17, 1994. Yes, that would be the night O.J. Simpson had the infamous car chase that 95 million people tuned into with bated breath. So as you can imagine, interest for a David Hasselhoff pay-per-view waned slightly in comparison. But wait! There's more! This was being hosted at Trump Plaza, owned by someone you might have heard about in the news recently. So mid-concert, this exchange happened.
Donald Trump was in my dressing room and he said, "Hey, there's our buddy." And I said, "What?" He said, "It's OJ. He's running from the police." And I looked at him and I said, "Tell me that is not live."
Okay. So let's unpack everything here. June 17, 1994. David Hasselhoff and Donald Trump are backstage at David Hasselhoff and His Baywatch Friends. And suspected, but definitely he was, murderer O.J. Simpson is on the run for that suspected but definite murder he committed. Pile of excrement Trump's only response is, "There's our buddy," which is pretty much expected from the human embodiment of a dumpster fire at this point. But then David Hasselhoff, apparently one of OJ's buddies, can only respond with, basically,
"This is going to ruin my concert!"
And ruin it did. The pay-per-view suffered a $1.5 million loss and only garnered about 30,000 viewers. But let's be real here, folks. Even if the date hadn't been unfortunate, this was not going to be a massive success. David Hasselhoff's singing career was a joke, and tying it into Baywatch wasn't going to make him any more legitimate on that front, so things turned out pretty much exactly as I would expect, except more hilarious. Since then, David Hasselhoff continues to make music and enjoy his Baywatch success, and I don't know what Trump's been up to lately. He keeps a low profile. Anyway, here's an episode of Baywatch. We open with Court on the run from Mexican police, where he stashes away a bag of stolen goods for later plot purposes. Finding nothing in his Jeep, Court and the pissed-off guy he stole from are escorted across the border to settle their dispute there. Man, Court hasn't been kicked out of Mexico since the last episode that took place in Mexico, where they basically told him he was an asshole, so get out. As you might recall, Court has a degenerative eye disease that's causing him to slowly lose his sight, which can be slowed down by wearing protective glasses and limiting exposure to the sun. So naturally, this is an episode all about a desert dune buggy race.
It's because you're slowly going blind, you see.
I get it. That's why they call me John Degenerative Eye Disease Court.
Now let's see how many blind references we can make in the next 30 seconds.
Great to see you.
Not as great as it is that you can still see me. Wait a minute. I know that look in your eye.
Anyway, it wouldn't be a Court episode without some scheme up his sleeve.
If it doesn't involve endangering my friends, it's not worth it.
He tells Mitch he wants to enter the Baja Run dune buggy race, but since he's got that blindness thing going for him, he wants Mitch to drive. Mitch, who describes the Baja Run as the most competitive race there is, has of course driven in this race in the past. They don't specify if he won or not, but let's be real, he definitely won.
Sure, and I have 16 Olympic gold medals, but can I do this again before the next Iron Man competition? It's hard being so talented and popular.
Thanks for helping me, Mitch. You won't regret it. That's why they call me John Dune Buggy Court.
Also, I don't know, CJ and Mitch stop this couple quarreling about a script or something, and Mitch is seriously giving this woman a painful frontal wedgie. This has nothing to do with anything. I can only assume they were short on time. CJ and Court start to rekindle their romance. Will it last forever? Or at least as long as this entire scene? Nope!
You came here because of a dune buggy race and not me? Romance over.
Meanwhile, Caroline and Logan discuss the upcoming rookie test, because, as we just now find out, apparently Caroline wants to be a lifeguard. Logan has to qualify too, and I don't know if that means he's transferring there permanently, or they've been letting him lifeguard without the proper verification this whole time. That's when Logan spots a gorgeous Sheila! Faking a leg cramp, he tells Caroline to go on while he macks on this beach resort lady. Ugh, I know where this is going. He's gonna have some boring arc about fixing a motorcycle or something that has fuck all to do with anything. Thanks, James!
Oi, I am so charming.
What did you say?
Maybe if I stare at you like a murderer, you will become my girlfriend. Ho ho ho.
But wait, then he says they had dinner plans that Caroline forgot about? Is she sorta kinda dating both of them? Okay, so this one's on her. Meanwhile, beach resort lady is attacked by some sort of mouth breather.
Oi, get off my ATM machine! I didn't expect anyone to notice a screaming lady. Bye!
Let me help you back to your place.
It's now Friday today!
Caroline tells Stephanie that she's decided to focus on Logan and ditch eyebrows, which gives Stephanie an opportunity to argue, because she's planned her life out for her.
You should pick Matt because he's been a main character longer. Also because I want the opposite of what you want.
How does a girl let a great guy like Mitch get away and end up with a loser husband like you did?
Harsh words. But to be fair, Logan is pretty average and charmless, so worth it. Meanwhile, party in Mexico. Mitch and Court arrive at the race, where the guy Court robbed decides to pick a fight.
You're not gonna get away with this, Court! Let's go, Jake!
We'll discuss this in the car, babe.
Thanks, Trailer Park Guy Fieri.
Why did I decide to wear a tablecloth today? Why?
Ugh. Fun races to cool tunes? Why can't we just follow more of the eyebrow/Logan/Caroline/beach resort lady love quadrangle? Ugh.
Just take it right down to the back of the canyon.
I can't believe Stephanie was right! She'll never let me live this down!
Plot twist! It turns out Creepy Breather was hired by Logan to scare beach resort lady so he could win her over with his heroics.
That dastardly dingo!
Man, Trevor's starting to look like a teddy bear in comparison. He mostly just liked doing backflips and wearing questionable Speedos. Meanwhile, united in their hatred of their rejected romances, could Eyebrows and CJ be rekindling their relationship, which the show forgot about? Meanwhile, Court and Mitch switch places, and Court leads them off-road so he can grab his stolen goods. Gasp! Court didn't want to win the race, he just wanted to smuggle his stuff over the border. Okay, so more specifically, it's ancient Mayan artifacts he won in a poker game. Because of course Court is smuggling ancient Mayan artifacts he won in a poker game.
Wait a minute. Is this a scheme, Court?
Well, it's your fault for not expecting it by now.
Damn, you're right.
How could you get us involved in stealing and smuggling?
How could you commit suicide? I can't believe you committed suicide.
When the other guys catch up to them, it quickly becomes a race for their lives. What? That's it? That lasted like 20 seconds.
I'm
miss Court. I miss Summer. Caroline. I tell you, that really means something.
I'm proud of you for turning loose those artifacts to the orphanage.
Excuse me, what? When did... the orphanage? That's why they call me John Didn't Write This Very Well Court. After a heartfelt talk about the future and accepting his blindness, Court is further upset when CJ reveals she's dating Eyebrows now.
Haha, that should take you down a peg, Blindy.
Spite dating is the best. Bye!
Well, old buddy, looks like I blew that one too.
Yep.
Next time on Baywatch, dangerous hang glider stunts, daring rescues. Meanwhile, Hobie throws an unsupervised shindig. Party on! Hey, it's been a while since we checked in on Hobie. Let's see what the Taco Bell is going on with him. By the way, if you squint, you might catch some subtle product placement during this skating montage. And I don't know what this extra is doing, but I'm intrigued. So Mitch is going on a 24-hour shift, which means he won't be able to watch Hobie, because as we all know, Mitch is constantly supervising him and not forgetting he exists. Instead of staying at a friend's house, the Hobster convinces him to let him spend the night alone. A perfect angel.
Okay, but you better not invite any dogs over.
Sup, testicles?
Stephanie is going to be Mitch's partner over this 24-hour shift, giving them an opportunity to discuss the events of Mitch and Gail's failed wedding and perhaps kickstart their own on-again, off-again relationship.
Tough break with Pale, huh, Mitch?
Her name's Gail.
Actually, Pale is a derivative of Pagale, which is the long form of Gale. If you were aware of anything about names, you'd know that.
Meanwhile, an old man is having a heart attack on the beach. No-name lifeguard to the rescue!
Actually, his name is John. If you were a real Baywatch fan, you'd know that.
At least I think this is John. They call him John on the radio, but he kinda looks like the guy credited as Ron, so who knows? He's like a weird phantom that drifts between the world of speaking extra and no-name background guy. I know he says some lines, but he doesn't call for backup and someone else does it for him. And half the time he acts like he's mute. It's like they're paying him by the word.
Oh, here comes some help.
What the hell? He's not a main character. Move it, crowd!
Why didn't John/Ron get his own first aid kit and try to help? Is there a reason he did nothing and waited for the main characters to show up?
Well, he's a dead man. Let's pack it up.
And I'm sorry for making fun of Sid in Season 1, because somehow they found a worse guy to man the telephones.
No change in the victim's condition. He's still on the critical list. I'll keep you posted of any new developments.
How was Baywatch's peak popularity during a time when they absolutely cut as many corners as possible? More interesting than this non-exciting rescue, one of the guest stars this week is a young charisma carpenter.
If you work hard and persevere, one day you can become a famous singer/actor like myself.
While Hobie tries his hand at another still young but getting progressively less creepy romance, Melvin from Tremors has dipped his hand into illegal hang gliding. The little turd. Okay, there was no need to pull a Numi for this one, guys. He's just being extra. And if he hadn't been swimming in slow motion, he would have caught the two kids taking off with the hang glider. A rare Numi failure.
Filling in time montage!
Featuring guy spinning in circles, Stephanie checking out bikini women, judgmental woman on phone, scary bearded men, Mitch reacting to nothing, fire nipple man, Stephanie being shocked at a random woman on the beach for no reason, the return of this scary clown footage, and baby ass. You might think this is an average bike accident, but you're wrong, because it has the Fallout equivalent to a war zone.
I can't move my legs.
Ow! We will always remember where we were when the Malibu bike accident of 1994 occurred. Many died, but they live on in our hearts forever. Hey, this guy stole Gardner's Shoot Hoops Not Drugs shirt. I'm glad he's dead. Meanwhile, Hobie montage. Hey, check it out. He's doing the Karate Kid. Brain on, brain off. Also, he either A, stole this kite from this kid, or B, randomly gave it away. It's unclear. So anyway, Hobie decides to invite some people over to his house, and things quickly get out of hand.
My dad's gonna kill me. Hey, Mitch, remember how we hinted at the beginning of this episode that this plot was going to involve a relationship or something?
Who can remember at this point? Hey, Hopester, how's it going at home?
It's all going fine, Dad.
That's not dogs I hear in the background, is it?
No, Dad, I'm just smoking weed alone.
Oh, good. For a second there I was worried. Have fun, champ.
Things escalate a bit when Melvin decides to cause more trouble. He's wasting a chill! The monster!
I think it's great the way you trust him.
If you want, I can give you some more parenting tips, Mitch.
They do eventually start talking about Mitch and Gail, and Mitch says he should have listened to her and not been so impulsive.
You were right.
As usual.
Okay, who replaced Mitch with an identical robot that actually admits defeat to Stephanie? He does, however, admit that getting together with Stephanie so quickly after his first marriage to Gail was a mistake, and suddenly the episode becomes a clip show.
You were married at the time.
Looks like this week I'm getting the lady.
Hobie cleans up the house and appears to have committed the perfect crime, until he realizes Mitch's hang glider has been stolen.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Meanwhile, more relationship stuff.
I mean, we just gotta be able to keep our personal and our professional lives separate.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Take that, Hobie.
What was that? Look at this. Stephanie looks like a ghost. Like that'd ever happen.
Don't do it! You'll never catch me. With this hang glider, I'll completely disappear. Not if I hang off of you like an idiot. Exactly as planned.
I should have known this was going to happen. Stephanie, get the Hobie 3 clone tube ready.
How did you and my hang glider wind up on the side of a cliff?
It's kind of a long story.
Naturally.
I guess it all started with this girl. Her name's Wendy.
You wanted to impress her?
Yeah, sorta.
Next time, buy her a box of candy.
Whoa, what a payoff.
You idiot.
Next time on Baywatch, more Logan and Caroline nonsense. Meanwhile, one of Hobie's friends is embarrassed of his little person father. Daddy issues. I'm about to make your day, dear viewer, because this is yet another very special episode of Baywatch. And if we know anything, it's that the show has the deft hands of a walrus trying to open a coconut. No issue is too sensitive for their Midas touch. No one can ever accuse them of being short-sighted. So anyway, this episode's title is a pun because a character is embarrassed of his little person father. Short-sighted! Continuing with the barely mentioned plot thread of Caroline wanting to be a lifeguard without any lead-up, and Logan needing to qualify for something he was already doing, we have another boring as sin rookie montage set to the slowest song they could possibly find. Their main characters, take a wild guess how they do. Logan is Rookie of the Year. Also, I guess Logan and Beach Resort Lady are now dating? I don't know. Why she's a multiple episode character is anybody's guess. The rookies who qualified are waiting to find out what beaches they'll be assigned to, and Caroline is worried that she and Logan will both end up at Baywatch. And, I mean, they already have a locker set up for her, so I think that's a given. By the way, they both end up at Baywatch. Meanwhile, Hobie is doing junior lifeguard stuff again, training a boy named Carter in CPR. Wow, he's so skilled, he's training other kids now. He's well on his way to becoming a true lifeguard.
Hey, Ashley, don't take that raft in the water, okay?
Oh well, he tried. Hobie informs Carter they're about to have a junior lifeguard father-son competition.
My dad's gonna cream all your dads.
Whatever. Your dad being one of the executive producers of Baywatch doesn't mean anything. It's not like it'll get you a recurring role on the show, Joshua Burke.
I'm not Joshua Burke, I'm JB, idiot.
Carter says his dad won't be able to make it, which raises a lot of questions from the other boys, because apparently junior lifeguards never had a member without a father and doesn't include girls anymore. While at practice, Carter's dad Simon shows up and we discover his horrible secret. He's got an embarrassingly 90s assortment of beach supplies. Also, he's a little person.
Look at him. He must be lost.
I'm gonna do nothing to stop this gawking.
I'll go talk to him, see if he needs directions or something.
That's for the best. Little people don't belong on the beach.
I need to find a map for directions. That's not my father. Bye!
listen to this music. It's like this is Schindler's List or something. So it turns out Carter's mother recently died, and he was sent to live with his dad, who wasn't exactly who he thought he would be. But he seems less concerned with the fact he's a dwarf than him not being a good athlete, which is an even lamer dilemma.
My mom was always telling me my dad was this great athlete and all. But when I met Simon,
He wasn't the fantasy dad that you had pictured all those years.
Look, I'm not saying there isn't a stigma against little people, there absolutely is. But as presented in this episode, it's a total weenie off. Not to mention, extremely hypocritical of Baywatch.
all these people out here are so perfect looking. And look seems so important to everybody. Seems like you have to look a certain way just to make friends.
That's not true. Look at all these uggos I work with. It's what's inside that matters. That's what the boobs and dicks cover.
I always thought my dad would be someone like you. Why couldn't you have been my dad?
The only thing a man should be measured by is the size of his heart.
Baywatch, stop! I'm gonna pee my pants! Meanwhile, Caroline is totes over Logan. He is in the past, moving on. Nobody gonna break her stride.
What's he doing over there? He's not talking about me, is he? When are we gonna get back together?
CJ is so annoyed with Logan's creeping on ladies, she decides to time him. Gee, I'm glad in order to be Rookie of the Year, you don't have to ace any other qualification test than run fast. Everyone is so distracted with petty bullshit, they completely miss a little girl going out alone into the water.
Hey, Caroline, my save! Oh no, my save!
No pulse!
She's moving her arm pretty good for someone with no pulse.
In my defense, you guys were the ones who made me a lifeguard.
Lads, we take these people back to headquarters and make sure they're okay.
We found him! We found Ledge Muscleman! He's more than I ever could have imagined!
Stephanie, I told you it would be a disaster if Logan and I worked on the same beach. Look what happened.
So when you think about it, it's your fault. Well, at least I get credit for this one.
In an effort to appease her hag of a sister, Stephanie tells Logan she's going to transfer him to another beach, which he is none too happy about. Caroline is really grateful for the favor, though.
Caroline, what's wrong now? You, Stephanie, you're what's wrong.
You should have let that girl drown, Stephanie. Let me learn my own lessons. It's cute when you're mad. Don't do that smile thing at me. I'm immune to your condescending powers.
I'm sorry, I'm just distracted by the terrible everything Caroline is wearing.
Yo, are we wearing really ugly-ass outfits out here?
It's not how big the hero when the battle is over, but only how big is his heart.
Oh my god! Time for a heartfelt talk between Eyebrows and Simon. Simon mentions that he always wanted to learn how to swim, which makes me wonder what he thought he was going to be doing in the father-son junior lifeguard competition, but I suppose it's not the ability to swim that counts, it's the size of his heart. But yeah, he totally would have drowned.
I heard what he said about me.
Pretty funny, right?
You know, my dad is tall, good-looking, charming, athletic, wealthy, the whole 9 yards.
Wow, I never realized how lucky I was until I met your son. Oh.
For what it's worth, I'd be proud to have you as my father.
Please adopt me!
Under the threat of having Logan sue for discrimination, yes, that's really a plot point, Stephanie apologizes and lets him stay, which pleases bitchy Caroline. Since this episode everyone's nagging about their parents, they share their own memories about their mom.
Hey, do you remember that poster you used to have hanging over your bed at home?
Love means learning to let go.
You just used to hope and pray that somehow Mom would get the drift.
Yeah, she never did she?
Which is why she abandoned us and we were raised by our grandmother. Our backstory is incredibly inconsistent.
Meanwhile, stupid little dog drifting out to sea.
Yes, yes, yes!
Hobie's little girlfriend from earlier goes to rescue the dog and ends up in trouble. It's a bad time to be a little girl in this episode of Baywatch. Admitted non-swimmer Simon jumps in on his son's board, getting her into the boat, but then endangering himself. Looks like I dropped the ball on this one.
Simon! Where is he? He's gotta be okay, Hobie. Just gotta.
Hey, wouldn't it suck if your dad died thinking you hated him? Just a thought.
Where did I come from? Who knows?
Dad, I'm sorry. Dad, I love you.
Oh, that's sweet.
I noticed no one asked me about my father. And the Didn't Die award goes to Carter's dad.
Next time on Baywatch, an attractive but cynical FBI agent goes undercover at Baywatch and drives Mitch crazy. Meanwhile, Eyebrows keeps trying to kill himself so a girl will stop hitting on him. Secret Agent Woman! Mentos, the French maker. Eyebrows joins Mitch at his tower, where he's been obsessively watching a woman apparently for days on end, so much so that he's memorized the exact time she swims and how long each swim takes her.
She swims every morning at 10 and every afternoon at 5. Takes her exactly 20 minutes to swim around that buoy and back.
Wow, you must really like this woman, Mitch.
She's okay.
Mitch also drops a mention that Stephanie has been asked to sail around the world with Riley, her geologist boyfriend who she forgot about for 4 episodes while she was thinking about Mitch's wing-wang doodle.
Riley ceases to exist when I'm jealous and then reappears when the plot needs him to. It's super convenient.
Hey, didn't Mitch and Stephanie get together or something like 2 episodes ago?
Oh well.
You think she'll do it?
Never. She'll think about it, debate it, weigh the pros and cons, and then play it safe.
Mitch Buchannon, future PI. Meanwhile, I don't know if the audience is interested, but by the way, the FBI wants to place an undercover agent on the beach.
They'll never get away with it. Those guys all look alike. Bad haircuts, pale skin, dark sunglasses. Oh, you can spot them a mile away.
The FBI agent is a hot lady? Forget everything Mitch said. The glass ceiling's just been shattered. I heard women are even in the police force now.
As long as you're not a black lifeguard, we gotta wait for season 7 for that.
This is FBI Special Agent Morgan Christopher, who doesn't think much of the lifeguard profession or Mitch, despite his friendly, condescending attitude. She's staking out the beach house of the lady Mitch was creepily keeping tabs on. The woman is dating an escaped mobster, so they have reason to believe she'll meet up with him before leaving the country.
Well, is there anything I can do to help?
You are window dressing, Mr. Buchanan. The best way you can help is by not interfering.
Garner would let me interfere. I'm tired of this sexist treatment.
Looks like you're getting a taste of what women go through every day, Mitch. It's a girl thing.
Shut up, tits.
Have a good time tomorrow morning.
Wait a minute, where are you gonna be? Sailing around the world with Riley?
I'm considering it.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Stupid Stephanie and her stupid boyfriend. It's because I have a pee-pee, isn't it?
Meanwhile, Eyebrows is trying to inform some Japanese tourists that their boat is unsafe. Luckily, Pamela-san is here to help. Yeah, CJ speaks Japanese. It was so obvious this whole time. Sacre bleu, I wish I was bilingual.
You speak Japanese?
Skoshi.
Oh, no.
Why did that warrant an oh no? While this is going on, some Dutch tourists are taking photos when one of them falls off of the rocks of doom. Eyebrows rescues her, and it's Mitch's old housekeeper. Oh, I mean, someone named Greta.
Women can be housekeepers now, too? When will men overcome the matriarchy?
This is good. This is good.
What's going on?
Search me, this whole day's been crazy.
I mean, I've stopped a diamond heist via a motorcycle car chase, but people speaking different languages stops the madness! Greta is immensely grateful for the save, stating that in her village, if someone saves your life, you have to return the favor. Ja, have you ever been to the Netherlands? Prove me wrong! She's willing to do anything. Cook, clean, be Mitch's housekeeper. I don't know why she got pigeonholed into this particular kind of role on Baywatch, but alright. Sounds like a good deal.
Hello, we're dating now.
You know I love you, CJ. That's why I named my houseboat the CJ Breeze. Meanwhile, in less comic reliefy plots, the ominous tune of sexism plays on. FBI Special Agent Morgan Christopher continues to be a real buzzkill, and Mitch questions why she's got that stick so far up her bum.
There's a lot at stake here. And I'm not going to let some wave jockey who likes to hang out in bag rays blow it for me.
And there's their suspect, wearing a bathing suit designed like a giant pair of men's briefs, the trademark of a guilty party. Much Much to FBI Special Agent Morgan Christopher's surprise, Mitch actually has some lifeguarding to do. While he's pulling a save, a woman comes to the tower to ask for help. Looks like FBI Special Agent Morgan Christopher is gonna learn what being a lifeguard is really like. Okay guys, look. If she wasn't trained or intending to actually do any lifeguard stuff, she could have just hung out in the tower not in a lifeguard uniform. Just saying. Look at how much airtime Eyebrows gets here. Whee!
Oh no you don't, you frog eater! My save! Okay fine, whatever. You take this guy. As long as I get the hot one. Got the hot one! It was me! You all saw it!
Fine, leave me alone. Fine, fine. I saved her life and I don't even get a thank you. You're lucky, trust me.
I can't tell you two how much you don't have any real problems. Meanwhile, Stephanie is unsure if she should sail the world with Riley or not.
I shouldn't be taken in by a man like this, but he's got those sexy Kenny Loggins vibes.
Speaking of romantic troubles, Eyebrows has a problem with being doted on with product placement from Greta. Note that his issue is not that a woman has enslaved herself to him, or that he already has a girlfriend, but that as a lifeguard, he could get in trouble.
If things were different, I could exploit the fact I saved your life to get sexual favors from you all day, but it was not to be, my love.
It's the 90s. Things have changed. Men and women have changed.
Yeah, it's true. Men are more liberated now.
I couldn't do my FBI special agenting without a cool, refreshing bottle of Gatorade by my side.
Oh, you got the piss yellow Gatorade, huh? Personally, I'm a fan of Windex Blue.
I don't want to put the FBI on blast or anything, but I'm not sure the people they're going after are all that cunning or hard to catch.
Hey, you turned it on, didn't you?
Oh, I forgot.
After Mitch saves FBI Special Agent Morgan Christopher once again by tipping her off when the woman is coming home, he's still met with ungrateful attitude.
I thought I saved the whole deal, not to mention your personal butt, not to mention your entire life out there.
Oh, her entire life. So not just her partial life then. Gosh, Mitch is so humble. Mitch throws around the term wave jockey again, as if that's a term anyone outside of Baywatch has ever used, getting defensive about her stereotyping him, while also forgetting he did the exact same thing to her.
I can't believe she thinks I'm some dumb lifeguard who interferes with criminal investigations that have nothing to do with my profession. I'm gonna go interfere in this investigation by pretending I'm looking for a lifeguard Olympics sponsor and planting a bug in the house to prove her wrong.
Yes, that's really what happens.
I'm going door to door to try and get people to sponsor me for the Lifeguard Olympics.
Meanwhile, on the CJ Breeze, Greta has made lunch for Eyebrows and CJ. You know, just because she makes it doesn't mean you have to eat it, but whatever. They're both tired of Greta's groveling, and so Eyebrows comes up with an ingenious plan to get her out of their hair. Stage his near death so she can repay her debt. Cue the montage of Eyebrows hilariously trying to kill himself. Don't help, Pamela. Just pose with the Gatorade. This montage is hilarious, by the way. Eyebrows is basically just recreating all of Eddie's greatest hits. After several failed attempts, Eyebrows' best scene ever plays out. While he's eating some nasty Dutch food, a killer dog makes his way onto the CJ Breeze.
I warned you this would happen! I warned you about dogs, bro! I told you, dog!
It keeps happening! Glad, after all the lame fake attempts on his life, the real one is the lamest of all. Luckily, Greta is nearby, and she finally saves his life.
Got to pretend I'm unconscious while lifting myself up. I want the world to know dogs really are evil.
After successfully planting the bug and doing the exact thing she told him not to, FBI Special Agent Morgan Christopher has warmed up to Mitch. She admits that she was projecting her attitude on him because, seriously, her father was a surfer who abandoned her family. Pfft, typical woman and her daddy issues. That's why they should never be let into the FBI. Beach House Lady is in trouble, and Mitch goes to rescue her with a little help from Noomi. Well, pack it in, boys. This case is as good as solved. But twist! The woman didn't actually drown. She was faking it so she could escape with her boyfriend. So why did she bother faking drowning again? The only thing that does is get the lifeguard's attention and guarantees she'll be seen getting onto the boat.
Alright, Mimi, let's go.
Oh, I'm coming with you.
It's okay.
I'm glad Mitch gave her permission to be part of her own investigation.
Whoa, this is hot!
I know, right? Nutshot!
Despite my testicles, I too can fight dirty! And that's why lifeguards should always be involved in criminal investigations.
Cut to them having a romantic champagne picnic where Morgan goes on about how wrong she was and Mitch is the greatest? Wow, they sure turned it around for her character. They're about to have some smoocheroos when Buzzkill Stephanie shows up.
Excuse me, I could give you some kissing tips if you want them, Mitchell.
You're dead, woman! You're dead to me!
Stephanie has decided to go on the trip with Riley after all, and Mitch sends her away with a goodbye kiss, not to send any mixed signals or anything.
I'll send you postcards.
Okay. Alright, now when you get into work, you send me a postcard, okay?
Did you hear that? It was my idea now.
I don't know if Alexandra Paul was busy with a movie or something. They make a big deal out of her leaving, but it's only a 6-episode absence, which is nothing compared to most of the other opening credit people. Notably, her sister is not present during the send-off.
You're going on a trip around the world with your boyfriend without me? I hate you, Stephanie!
The last minute and a half of the episode is just dedicated to a montage of Stephanie and her boyfriend on a boat, as if this plot was primarily about them, so I feel this is very in character.
Way to hog the spotlight, Stephanie!
Next time on Baywatch, Kay is back and pretending she's a character, but her restaurant promotion / rare coin scavenger hunt might spell trouble for this beach. Get them dollar bills! I'm gonna be honest, folks, this episode is not one that has stuck with me, so we might be on a journey of discovery together here. I would like to nominate K-Gas, the Grooveyard of Solid Gold for the episode with the most unwieldy title, though, and you can never take that away from it. Also of note, K-Gas, the Grooveyard of Solid Gold was written by 2-time Emmy-nominated producer Ruben Leader. He's beat out in the episode by guest star Jeff Garlin, who's been nominated for 7. You might remember him as Donut Jerk in RoboCop 3. Ruben Leader and Donut Jerk both have more Emmy nominations than Baywatch ever got, which, I remind you, is 0. This montage at the beginning is a waste of time, but they do drop Baywatching into the lyrics, which is pretty much my life now.
We'll be California dreaming, Baywatching every day.
This Beach Boys song, Summer of Love, not to be confused with David Hasselhoff's creepy song, also titled Summer of Love, was released as a single to tie in with Baywatch. It was included in one of their lowest selling albums, and their distributor went bankrupt. I know there were multiple reasons for this besides Baywatch being involved, but it couldn't have helped. Unusually, the plot wastes no time in getting started. The radio station K-Gas, hosted by Larry Lumen Large, is broadcasting the grand opening of the Sandy K Cafe. As part of their promotion, they've started a large-scale pirate-themed scavenger hunt that must be completed before the end of the day, with the grand prize being a rare coin worth $100,000. Just soak all of that information in. In order to ensure the contest is legit and keep everything safe and legal, Garner is assigned the Chief Crypt Keeper of the contest.
Hello, boyos and ghouls! This episode of Slaywatch is called K-Gas, the Graveyard of Solid Gold, and it'll leave you running in slow motion for more! Holy moly, my character is underutilized!
If there's one thing Baywatch hates, it's tourists, so they're none too happy to find out about this contest. Hey, if they're worried about overcrowding, why didn't Crypt Keeper Garner drop them a line that this contest was going on? Did the lifeguards and the police have a falling out?
I wish I could quit you, Mitchell.
Anywho, the Sandy K Cafe is the former Jackie's Summer Place, aka the Sandy Vagina, aka the Vagina Hut, now under new ownership. Now I know you're asking yourself right now, how can such a useless character as Jackie Quinn be replaced? Well, you bring in even less of a character, and that's Kay Morgan, aka Hoffwife. She's been missing for well over a season, and now she's back to be irrelevant again. You might be further questioning, how come Kay bought a restaurant when she's a reporter and has shown no prior interest in running a food-related business? Mitch is mad about the owner not informing them about this publicity stunt, but when he finds out it's Hoffwife, everything is forgiven.
Would you like a mango strawberry smoothie?
No thanks, I'm driving.
My friends can do whatever they want.
She does say she didn't know about the treasure hunt, though, so how is what they're doing legal then? Kay mentions that K-Gas is a news station, so she's allowed them a place to broadcast in return for free promotion. Wait, so the beach is going to be overcrowded with hordes of treasure hunters because of this unknown radio station all within its first day of broadcast? Is it really a helpful symbiotic relationship if both the cafe and the station are unknown? How is a crowded cafe on a beach good for sound recording on a permanent basis? I have questions. I think this security guard in the background is my favorite character, by the way. So the idea of the treasure hunt is thus. The coin came from a pirate ship, and pieces of the ship's captain's last will and testament have been spread across the area. Participants must find all of the pieces and recite them on air to win the prize. Now, wanting to host a large treasure hunt and placing clues around the beach is not a bad idea. I do, however, find it slightly irresponsible to place the clues on the side of a fucking cliff face. I don't know, man. If you think real hard, you might see some safety issues arising.
Wow, this was literally the exact thing I was supposed to prevent. I'm terrible at my job.
Oh well, it's not like Garner is one of the only two people who know the locations of these clues and could have spoken up ahead of time.
And now I'd like to introduce the only person on Earth, besides me, of course, who knows the locations of all the phrases of Captain Flynn's last will and testament. And here he is, Sergeant Garner Ellerby.
All Eyebrows does is push this woman up onto the edge, and everyone acts like the rescue is over, but like, they're still on the side of a cliff. Oh well. During the very rescue involving two people almost dying because of this treasure hunt, Eyebrows spots the clue and is struck with gold fever.
And near the Vern Crown, a witch's hat was worn.
Oh well again, fun treasure hunt stuff!
You can get it if you really want.
Well, I'm just looking for a cat turd that got buried here.
Holy mother of pearls!
Yeah, I'm sure this is making for good radio, man.
Angel of the Sea, don't go. I want you. I need you. I love you.
Inspector Clouseau has joined the treasure hunt, earning him a scolding from CJ.
I can't help it. The lure of easy money has such a strong appeal.
There's no such thing as easy money.
Unless I gamble my gambling addiction away, then it's super easy.
You know where else is a good place to put a clue? On some dangerous rocks in the ocean.
I just don't understand how these accidents keep happening. 4 people have nearly died, but we just don't have enough to shut this thing down.
Now that more people have been put in danger, I'm even more determined to find this stupid treasure.
You've got a point. Let me fantasize about me winning that contest. Until I'm rich, I can never lay naked in bed or stand in the hay with some guns.
Boy, CJ's daydreams sure are fan servicey. All it takes is one fantasy about herself posing sexily, and CJ is all up for winning that questionable contest. She sure has a strong moral center. She might be flip-floppy on her morals, but she and Eyebrows are damn good at solving clues.
If this isn't a grim and ghostly place, I don't know what is.
Sure, let's go with that. They're on duty, by the way, on a day where they're short-staffed and overcrowded with reckless people, so good job at being professional life-saving individuals. Sacre bleu!
Yeah, back to haunt me from college! So this dorko has found all of the pieces of the will before them, but just as he's leaving, they're stopped by String Bean and Beefcake.
Nobody's going anywhere.
How does this keep happening to us? It's like we're stupid or something! So what was the plan? Recite the clues on the air and hope the people you threatened with a gun and tied up don't report you? Oh, that's right. Because it's treated comedically, it doesn't matter. We're all wanging it big time this episode. Okay, so how about that punishment for sucking as lifeguards?
The truth is, with Stephanie off sailing halfway around the world, I can't afford to lose anybody.
So no suspension necessary. So Mitch should be... How could this happen?
Ooh, who's this stud muffin? But wait, there's more! It turns out the contest was rigged, so the person at City Hall who signed the permit for the radio station could win the contest. Those sons of Mitches. I doubt that was officially licensed by Disney. Arrest him!
Oh no, I forgot I don't know how to swim!
Yikes! After a scene where they basically pull a Scooby-Doo wrap-up of the entire scheme, Garner gets in one last zinger.
I just repeated his name nonsensically.
That calls for a toast.
To me!
Next time on Baywatch, Geraldo Rivera stops by to act. Meanwhile, a magic wind makes everyone on the beach horny. Summer of Love. Julie Strain plays an uncredited role as a windsurfer in this opening montage. Hope you enjoyed that fun fact, because she does nothing of note. The montage changes tone and gets distracted by another pair of windsurfers who are in need of some rescue. The music choice makes Mitch and Numi's reused footage seem super ominous. Yeah, swim away, girls! Swim away as fast as you can! Did these windsurfers just fall over, or was it something more diabolical? Perhaps a mysterious wind with untold magic powers? Baywatch wouldn't use that plot, and also twice. That'd be stupid. Meanwhile, Baywatch celebrates the return of a beloved character, Destiny!
CJ, why would you think I'd be excited to see Destiny again? I'd never be her friend, especially not on my hugely successful spin-off show. Never!
As Destiny points out, there's an astrological alignment, because of Mars and the moon and whatever. I don't know, it's a bunch of bullshit. But basically, everybody gonna get horny. Yes, this is what they've gone with for the plot. What astrology has to do with the wind, I don't know. It may be a separate cosmic entity altogether. This plot is needlessly confusing. CJ has remembered her new agey roots, and is thus totally in tune with Destiny's prophecy. Mitch, however, thinks it's a bunch of horse apples.
I know you helped me win the Iron Man competition with your hippy-dippy freak powers, but an erotic wind? Pfft, this is the real world, Destiny. Come back when you've got something useful for my PI/lifeguard business.
I guess part of this red wind thing is guys being overly aggressive, even though we never really see that, because who knows what this plot really is. So Destiny wants to warn everybody and ensure peace. She holds a tarot card reading to find someone to lead her circle, and the winds send her a sign. Baywatch, can you chill for like 2 seconds?
My breasts have spoken. We shall have an annoying subplot of sending good vibes out into the world.
You got enough beer there?
Dude, I told you he should have brought more.
I was being facetious.
Of course there's not enough beer, you idiots! If I still know what the word facetious means, I'm not drunk enough.
Anyway, more boobs. This is a mysterious woman from Mitch's past who alludes to knowing him but doesn't fess up how. Who could this puzzling woman be? I'm gonna spoil it, she's just some lady he rescued in the past. It's not that exciting. And she's in love with Mitch, but her jealous fiancé is none too happy about it.
love Gatorade! Wait, was that seriously Geraldo Rivera?
Baywatch has cast a lot of people who are not actors, and Geraldo is the least among them. Not since the notorious clown show that was the Al Capone Vault special has Geraldo Rivera been involved in such hilariously misguided television. It's beautiful. But I mean, at least he was honest about his performance?
Acting, well, I guess you could call what I did acting. Being with you for that performance was one of the highlights of my professional life.
He's not playing himself, by the way, because he couldn't show off his acting chops if they did that. He is Albert Romero, the nerdiest of the nerds, and he's here to fuck Mitch up.
Oh, that's annoying.
Don't tell me to calm down, you calm down, Mr. Ripplepex!
Mr. Ripplepex? You take that back, you son of a Mitch!
Mr. Ripplepex?
Stupid.
Mister, I found this in the water.
Where?
Over there.
Stupid.
Wow, this is fantastic. You really have everybody thinking peace.
Stupid. This episode is kind of comedy heavy. Can't we weigh it down with a tonal whiplash plot about a drowning girl? Caroline is stopped by a frantic father on the beach who tells her his daughter is submerged.
Alright, this is a job for the big boys. Why don't you get back to your weak subplot, CJ? I'll handle this.
After a long search, no one can seem to find the girl, and Mitch starts to get suspicious. I mean, no one saw her go under, and how big could the ocean be, am I right? As he goes to file the missing persons report, the dad mysteriously disappears.
He was a ghost! I knew it!
In a light-hearted twist, the father nearly dies, and it turns out his daughter drowned a year ago and left him a broken and disturbed man. Anyway, let's not talk about that plot anymore.
Oh, hello? What do you want? Oh, I'm sorry. This is a public beach. You're not allowed to do that here.
We never had sex on the show. You show me one show where we got people going to bed together.
Just to recap, we've got a story about a horny wind/astrological alignment, a former rescue crushing on Mitch and her jealous fiancé, a grieving father, and Gatorade. Why does Baywatch alternate between repeating the exact same plots and cramming 3 episodes worth of insane things into one? Former rescue girl reveals to Mitch that he saved her 11 years ago, and she's come to the beach to see if he'd make a better boyfriend than her fiancé.
Typical. I get this all the time.
I still don't know if I love Albert for himself, or if it's just because he looks like you.
You think he looks like me?
You take that back! This has gone too far!
Sure, he looks like Mitch, but she doesn't think he's got the same creamy filling. She calls him a cowardly wimp. But I mean, he's starting fights with Mr. Ripplepex, so I don't know how true that assessment is.
To the death row! To the death row!
Okay. To the pain. To the pain.
Clearly there are some issues with this engagement. Albert's fiancée is always comparing him to Mitch. She doesn't love him for who he truly is. Luckily, Mitch Von Malibu knows the formula for a good marriage. Change everything about yourself! Via montage, he's gonna teach him how to become his double and save this sham of a relationship. David Hasselhoff is pulling some killer reaction faces this episode. Mitch's lessons in becoming the Mitchiest you can be appear to boil down to don't run like a dork, wear cool sunglasses, work out, and have a flagrant disregard for safety.
Bad job at that fake combing.
Whoa, he even put him in his trademark jean shirt and Baywatch Night's Adidas jacket. Mitch is really committed to this. I've got spectacular news, folks. And that's that we get not one hilarious montage involving this plot, but 2! Their plan to make Geraldo Rivera into Mitch Buchanan is predictably a failure, for who can measure up to Mitch Von Malibu? So Mitch goes to plan B. Act like a colossal b-hole. This is, without a doubt, my favorite Baywatch montage of all time. It's 2.5 minutes of Mitch just acting like a complete dick to this woman, and it's one of the greatest things I have ever seen. Choosing what clips to highlight here is like Sophie's choice. I have to stay within fair use limits, but it's just so delectable. Mwah! 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 Some of my favorite moments include using an entire dispenser full of napkins to blow his nose, paying this man to put her in a scary ride and just letting her panties fly out in the open, flinging an entire ice cream cone onto her chest and mopping it up with straws, and spraying her in the face with a water fountain while laughing like a madman. It's hard to believe the show could be so good to us. Looks like we can close the book on this one. She is definitely off the Mitch Express after this.
You're better than I ever dreamed of.
But I wore this douchey and confusing necklace today! Curse my good looks and charm!
Albert just wants her to be happy, so he gladly gives her away to Mitch. This gives Mitch another idea. Up the douche factor with meat-related metaphors.
I mean, why should she settle for a hamburger like you when she can have steak like me?
This might be slightly out of character for Mitch, but I do believe he has a meat hierarchy.
I mean, I can understand you wanting an imitation Mitch. Every woman should have one. But you don't shop for one at a garage sale.
That sounded pretty in character, though.
Yo! Flat butt! Cinch up that belt, your pants might fall down!
Flat butt was the last straw. Mitch can be a D-bag to her, but not to Geraldo Rivera, the perfect angel. She drops the hero and gets with the zero.
I'm steak.
That wind thing sure went somewhere, didn't it?
It sure didn't.
Next time on Baywatch, Mitch gets another love interest. Meanwhile, Eyebrows joins a volleyball competition and Garner sings the blues. It ain't easy being cheesy. The German title for this, Die Midlife Crisis, could apply to like any episode. Just saying. So remember in season 1 when Baywatch had a plot about a volleyball match? Well, this is another one. Eyebrows wants to be a pro volleyball player, which is something he's always been interested in, kinda like when he was a kickboxer for 2 seconds. He might not be a pro volleyball player, but the show has cast some real pros in roles this episode, including Olympic medalists and Tim Hovland, aka the Hov, which feels like some borderline copyright infringement toward the Hoff. Also appearing as a surfer is, apparently, famed Chicago radio talk show host Kevin Matthews, whose guest appearance here was, I guess, noteworthy enough to include in his IMDb biography. His guest appearance on Baywatch in the early 90s is yet another dumb moment of his career. I like that implies there were many dumb moments. Anyway, Baywatch is going back to an old favorite, the cool transportation/product placement plot. This time, it's for Scat Hovercraft, which has a very unfortunate name. Baywatch is considering purchasing one of these vehicles for rescues, so to test it out, they've invited the Scat Hovercraft rep, a former lifeguard, to show Mitch what Scat Hovercrafts are all about. More on this in a bit. Meanwhile, the show suddenly remembers Garner exists and gives him a story not involving law enforcement? What show is this? Supporting cast members only have one defining feature. One! It's amateur night at this blues club, and Garner, going through a midlife crisis, is gonna bless us with his velvety voice. Thank you, Baywatch.
I don't know, Garner. There's a lot of black people here, don't you think?
Luckily, Mitch spots a white lady crying in the audience and woos her with a used hanky.
No thanks.
Oh, keep your cool, Mitch. Keep your cool.
Mitch is tanking pretty hard, so he hopes Garner's music will put this lady in the mood. Take it away, Garny boy.
Boo! You suck! Oh, come on, Mitch.
Well, scratch that one off the list.
That was a cruel thing to say.
I like that the show is calling him out on being an asshole now.
When will I be as good as David Hasselhoff or Jeremy Jackson? Damn my stage fright!
Nobody's life flow ever gets closed off. Unless they stop trying to live their dreams.
Thanks, CJ. You know, I always wanted to play basketball.
Whoa, I didn't ask for your life story, okay?
Meanwhile, Mitch is about to meet the Scat Hovercraft representative and, gasp, it's a girl! Also, she's the lady from the Blues Club who thought he was a dick to Garner. This is Tracy Dodsworth, who will be Mitch's new long-term love interest. And by long-term, I mean 5 episodes. I think this is who David Hasselhoff is talking about in this baffling quote?
Mitch is finally going to get a love interest. Finally. I know you thought that I did not go out with girls, but I actually am going to go out.
And how little nookie on the show.
We never had sex on the show.
Yes, finally Mitch will have a love interest. After nearly 100 episodes of being a leprous bachelor, finally the show lets him have that sex Baywatch never featured. And I'm glad his first ever, never had one before love interest is a representative for scat hovercraft. This brazen lie is a bunch of scat, if you want my opinion. Almost as bold as him claiming him and Garner are best friends.
So, you see, Garner and I were like best friends.
We take showers and Speedos together. We're inseparable.
There's no way this hovercraft is gonna be able to beat Mitch in his Wave Runner TM. After all...
It's not a fair test, Captain. I know these waters. I know the waves. I know the currents.
Yeah, he knows the always completely the same waves and currents of Baywatch Ocean, which will totally give him the advantage. More like hover crap. To prove Mitch is really a nice guy, though, he places this wager. Whoever wins the test rescue cooks the other one dinner. You know, when food is at stake, he really means it.
I don't eat red meat.
Neither do I.
This race is own.
Get on, loser! I gotta win!
But alas, the scat hovercraft just barely wins out.
Impossible! How could this happen to Wave Runner TM? My dick is this big.
Now, Mitch is very sensitive about his cooking, so you have to compliment him or he'll be depressed all night.
When people ask for examples of empowered female characters, I point them to this scene in Baywatch of CJ and Tracy doing Skinamax shadow theater while discussing how best to please Mitch's bruised ego, which was only bruised because he was an asshat about everything. So Mitch turns an equipment test into a contest, loses, and then gets the girl he was an asshole to into his home so he can have a candlelit dinner with her. Seems like he's gotten a taste of humble pie. Tracy has repeatedly stated she's not interested in starting a relationship, a boundary Mitch is determined to cross at every opportunity because, deep down, all any woman wants is a piece of Mitch Von Malibu. Don't worry, Mitch assures her, he just wants to be friendly co-workers.
Hey, let me just grind right up on you. That's professional, right?
Meanwhile, volleyball. If you ever had a burning desire to see pro volleyball players try to act in an extended scene all to themselves, this is the episode to watch.
What's the deal, Kurt? Are you gonna keep playing with him even though I'm ready?
I could give them some acting tips. The Huv plays Tim Sinclair, who's been out of the volleyball circuit due to a knee injury. His partner Kurt replaced him with asshole Alex, and he won't play with him again unless he can prove he's better. Now he needs someone to team up with to take them on. But first, he asks Eyebrows out on a date.
You checked me out? Why?
I need a partner.
In the tournament?
Not exactly.
The Huv challenges Kurt and Alex to a match. If they win, Kurt has got to take him back. So wait, if his team is better, he wants to partner up with the guy who lost? Why not just stay with your better team? My only chance of fulfilling my volleyball dream is to lose. Ho ho ho, I am his silver medal.
Hey, Broyles.
Yeah.
Good reflexes.
Even though Eyebrows was totally the best choice, the Huv still decides to train him. I think we need some cool training music.
What does the fox say?
Halfway through the episode, they decide CJ is getting a subplot. In protest of some offshore oil drilling, she asks Eyebrows to wear this anti-drilling tank top. Ugh, you are so embarrassing, CJ. I'm going to cheat on you with an oil driller.
Now that I'm born into the world, nothing can get me down.
Meanwhile, Garner's still depressed over his Blues Club disaster. He tells Mitch about his woes, and Mitch offers these words of comfort.
Everybody goes through that at some point in their life, including me.
Including you?
Yeah.
When? You're not only living your dream, you're living every man's dream.
Every man's dream! You heard it here, folks! Also, for once, Mitch isn't overinflating his ego into godlike status. You could rename Baywatch into Mitch's Ongoing Midlife Crisis, and it wouldn't be wrong. At first, Mitch's admittance might not seem in character, until you realize, A, he's totally kicking Garner's ass at chess while he does it, and B, he's made Who's Got the Sadder Midlife Crisis into a contest.
Yours is about career, mine's about relationships.
Shoot, mine's about that too.
Yeah, well, I wanted one so badly, I almost married my ex-wife.
Checkmate!
Checkmate?
Nah. Now that the focus is firmly on him, Mitch tells Garner that, surprise, he could see himself spending the rest of his life with Tracy. Like a clockwork.
Damn, Mitch, you got some problems. What's not to love? She's got blonde hair, rides a scat hovercraft, and tells me consistently that she detests me. She's perfect.
In a gut-wrenching twist of heartbreak, Tracy is on her way out of town. Oh, not because she's sticking to her guns and moving on with her life, but because Mitch was so damn good in their competition, there wasn't sufficient reason to spend money on the scat hovercraft and keep her around. That's right, even when he loses, he's still the best.
No! Why must my talent be such a curse?
But hey, Eyebrows has got problems too.
How do I stand a chance of winning wearing this?
Sorry, did I say he has problems? I meant no, he doesn't, ever.
Wait, is that a no drilling shirt? I'm so distracted I lost! Damn you, environmental message clothing! Damn you to hell! Woohoo! I get to drop you like a sack of bricks!
What's going on with those oil drillers anyway? Okay, that had nothing to do with them being oil drillers and everything to do with terrible safety precautions. You don't want any blood in the water when Mitch is around. He's got a taste for it. Look at this, he's trying to cook him.
You're gonna make it.
Oh, get it?
Impalement craft away!
I just want you to know, just because you came here doesn't mean this wasn't my save.
Now that someone's life has been saved, Tracy's gonna stick around.
Act in a Broadway show, meet Bob Dylan, all sorts of things.
Marriage? Kids?
Fuck off. Also, what is that sweater vest, Mitch?
I'm so charming.
Eyebrows is also here, wearing his accountant chic. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is, we're gonna finally hear Garner sing. I don't have any jokes, just enjoy it.
I almost drowned in my own tears.
Next time on Baywatch, it's Christmas at Baywatch. Prepare to have your heart warmed and your disbelief suspended. Merry Christmas in summer!
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Happy summer, folks! Y'all ready for a Merry Christmas with the Baywatch crew? Baywatch is sort of an odd show that doesn't really lend itself very well to holiday specials, because, well, Baywatch Beach is kinda summer all the time. I think this two-parter was their only attempt at a specifically holiday-themed episode, although it is worth noting that the episode featuring the Night Puncher was created as a Halloween thing because NBC just told them to make something around a promo they made.
He became incensed after NBC demanded a special Halloween episode.
They gave us a promo and said, write a show around this promo.
Hasselhoff hated that idea. They got more integrity than that, but it was cool when he was fighting vampires and shit on Baywatch nights, I guess. Also worth noting, on Halloween of 1994, they aired Short-Sighted, so yeah, clearly holiday specials were not on Baywatch's list of priorities. Oh yeah, and this two-parter is called Silent Night, Baywatch Night. Silent Night, Baywatch Night. Horrible! But before we talk about surfboards and sugar plums, I got two pieces of news. Firstly, Baywatch has been beat as the longest-running show to never win an Emmy by Supernatural. Good God. I used to love Supernatural, guys, but let's be real. If any show was gonna beat Baywatch in that regard, it deserved it the most. If someone were to tell me in 2010 that in 7 years, David Hasselhoff would be cameoing in 2 wide-release movies, Baywatch would be back in theaters, and Supernatural would still be on and festering in its own toilet stew, trying to revive itself by doing a Scooby-Doo crossover, I'm not sure I'd believe them. Oh, how the tables have turned. But I will say this. It may have beaten Baywatch in its lack of Emmys time, but it was still nominated, which is more than Baywatch could say. Okay, secondly, I gotta go a little bit into Baywatch's 100th episode. Baywatch was the most watched show of all time. Whether you love it or hate it, it had an audience of over 1 billion people. But guess what? I can't find one stinking piece of evidence as to what their 100th episode actually was. You'd think one of those billion people would have some sort of documentation about that, but I've been to the deep web and I'm still not sure. The 100th episode celebration reels are just unrelated clips, and pictures from the 100th wrap party don't indicate which one it was specifically. If you look at Wikipedia's episode list, you'll see Homecoming numbered at 100, but as they have two number 43s, that numbering is incorrect. Rolling it back one makes it the episode Rubber Ducky, but that's only if you don't include the pilot movie. If you do, it makes it part 2 of Silent Night, Baywatch Night. That is, if you don't count the pilot movie as a two-parter like some lists do, which would make it part 1. But that's assuming Baywatch aired things in the production order, which they most certainly did not. And I can guarantee you they didn't film this as the 100th. While a Christmas special is at least different, it doesn't have that celebratory feel you would expect from a milestone like that. However, using my powers of deduction, and this picture from the wrap party including Richard Branson and Jane Collins, who both guest starred in an episode later in the season, my best guess would be the 100th episode filmed was The Runaways. It's got a lot of guest stars in it, and a bit of self-indulgence, which feels like more of a 100th episode celebration than any of the ones I just mentioned. But that's just my guess. Anywho, for all intents and purposes, including the pilot, part 2 of Silent Night, Baywatch Night is the 100th episode aired. Since I reviewed two-parters together, this isn't the 100th episode of Baywatching, so give me a few on that one. Now let's spread some holiday cheer!
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire's so delightful, and since we've no place to go.
Get B-roll, get B-roll, get B-roll. We begin with another parasailing rescue, but the twist? The guy's dressed as Santa! Can't you feel the Christmas magic in the air?
It's gonna make coming down the chimney a piece of cake, huh?
Oh, I'm seriously injured, you prick!
Speaking of which...
Aw, is that a sigh I don't hear?
Oh, does somebody need some condescension?
So remember how last episode Tracy was like, "Hey, I'm not looking for a relationship for a multitude of reasons," and Mitch was like,
"Not on my creepo watch."
Well, I don't know, they're together now? Guess they resolved that off screen. This is their first kiss. Thank God, Mitch finally has a love interest. Tracy is bummed because she always wanted a white Christmas, something which they aren't going to get on the beach. You might have noticed something off about Tracy in the last couple episodes. Not to ruin any kind of twist.
But it's just that this is probably going to be my last chance at a white Christmas.
Don't be silly. There'll be other years.
Why does everyone keep saying ha ha ha? That's my thing. Oh, I'm too embarrassed to ask now.
I just didn't feel like standing around and comparing Christmas memories.
Why not?
Because I don't have any.
I think we know one way to renew Eyebrows' Christmas spirit.
Ooh, I'm the ghost of Christmas past! Please adopt me! Kirby won't leave me alone!
I'm the ghost of Christmas present. Wait, I'm dead? We're dead! Sacre blue! I'm Cody.
Shut up, ghost of Christmas future!
So remember that episode oh so long ago, aka 5 episodes previously, where a little boy learns to accept his father because little people are just people like you and me? Well, guess what? Forget that! Little people are actually always make-believe fantasy creatures. That's right, folks. This episode has Christmas elves. Holy schmoly! Baywatch, you shouldn't have! Why did anyone ever make fun of Baywatch nights? Christmas elves! Baywatch has had many misses, but something that is a guaranteed laugh riot is secret Christmas elf humor.
We've flown over the area. It's freezing where we come from. The old geezer we work for is a sleigh driver this time of year.
Sleigh driver?
Did I say sleigh driver? I meant slave driver.
Look at my totally child-appropriate shirt. Boobs for everyone. It's a Christmas miracle!
It's a good thing she wore it, though. Otherwise, she couldn't hit on this hot British beach priest.
You know, we're actually in the same line of work. We both save lives.
You just get them a little closer to heaven.
Baywatch, please don't do this. Meanwhile, it wouldn't be Christmas without a plot about a devious loan shark. Kyla here is in debt for 10 grand, but it is she who is playing him. Using her scrappy child as a distraction, she steals the key to his money box and swipes all his cash. Despite Kyla and her kid Joey always using their own names for their cons, Kyla is somehow caught. This leads to Joey running into Eyebrows and Hobie, who are busy asking life's tough questions.
Hey, Ho. You still believe in Santa Claus?
I'm a mere 10 years old.
Oh, and Eyebrows rescues a Christmas elf from drowning. If that doesn't get you major points with Santa, I don't know what will. No one but true Christmas elves could have decorated this tower. Believe, Eyebrows, believe! At Casa Von Malibu, Hobie interrupts Mitch and Tracy's abrupt relationship development, and Mitch hates having those interrupted.
This better be good, Hobie, or I'll end you.
It's okay, Dad. I just brought a little boy home after an altercation at the beach because that's how that works.
You brought a filthy child into my home? I hate children!
It's
disgusting!
With a little kid around, Dad, it'll make you look younger.
You're right.
I think I'll adopt it and take it with me. This episode continues to take us on a Shyamalanian tour of twists when Joey's biggest secret is revealed.
He is a she.
Oh my god! What? I can't even... How? My mind is blown! How could she be a little girl this whole time? It's a twist so clever, it's almost pointless!
Don't you know who this is? This is the little girl from Thunder in Paradise, Hobie! I will not have Hulk Hogan's adoptive child in my home!
A girl? How'd you find out?
Why'd you have to make it sound so creepy, Mitch? Oh yeah, I forgot the scene started like this. Gunner Santa, Gunner Santa, Gunner Santa! Holy moly, I was so busy making fun of Michael Burke's son Joshua being cast as a semi-recurring character that I completely missed that one of Hobie's other friends is Corey Schwartz, Douglas Schwartz's son. How'd he manage that gig, I think this is him, I don't know. Mitch, a natural detective, is starting to find some holes in Joey's story about her mom being stuck on a bus.
I'm suspicious of you. Oh well, I guess I'll leave you here unsupervised.
Looking for money to bail her mom out of jail, Joey convinces Hobie to join her in a scam involving young women swooning over a David Hasselhoff promo pic sent to Santa Baby. I'm not going to give you any more context.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree for me.
Lone Shark Goon starts chasing Hobie and Joey underneath
the Death Fear.
This episode's just got way too much happening. This causes David Hasselhoff to pitch the tagline of his next movie.
I'm beyond mad, now I'm worried.
I don't know how much Lone Shark pays this guy, but surely it's not enough for this potential double child homicide.
You take the ugly older child, I'll get the cute one!
Anyway, via some stuff I'm skipping over because it isn't that interesting, Mitch finds out about Joey's mom.
Oh, Joey, I hate that story.
If there really was a Santa, he'd bring my mom back for Christmas.
Well, there isn't, kid. Your mom is gonna serve 6 consecutive life sentences, and will most likely die thinking you abandoned her because you didn't love her enough. Well, good night!
What is this? What? You are smoking a cigarette?
One of my cigarettes? Gimme! Your complete lack of gratitude, smoking in my home, and stealing my food has inspired me to bail your mom out. Merry Christmas, you little scamp.
I still don't believe in Santa, but I believe in you.
At this point, Lone Shark has agreed to drop the charges if they pay the money back. Money which Joey has hidden inside one of the identically wrapped presents under the Baywatch Christmas tree. Oh no! Now they have to wait till Christmas! Because, the episode says so? Who did they have to keep this a secret from at this point? Meanwhile, Eyebrows talks to CJ and dances around the fact he suspects his new friends might be Christmas elves. You know, I made fun of Eddie a lot for being a giant child, but never once did they feature him believing in fairy tale creatures. Ghosts, maybe, but there was a line. Perhaps CJ was making a mistake spite dating Eyebrows to get back at court.
They're elves. They know that as a child you don't have too many happy Christmases, so that's what they're giving you now for Christmas.
Beachgoers put their lives in these people's hands every day!
By the way, Matt, I'm in love with a priest now.
What? Oh well, elves!
I'm in this episode now, hi!
While Tracy is super inconspicuously hiding something, she finds a letter from Mitch in her locker. So that we may dance to the mutual rhythm of our hearts? Jeez, he's so lame. Let the music of seduction play. Meanwhile, no! Stop trying to push this star-crossed lovers plot between CJ and Priest McSexy. No!
A priest? Why a priest? You can have any man you want. Man adores you, but a priest?
I don't know, Mitch. At least it seems mutual, which is more than I can say for how your current relationship started. They resolved this issue by saying it was one big misunderstanding. But let's be real here. CJ totally would have left Eyebrows for a priest if she'd had the opportunity. Not that I blame her.
Toys? You are elves, I knew it!
Yeah, sure, whatever, kid. We're Christmas elves.
I just thought that you were like Santa's helpers, you know. Elves.
Eyebrows, you don't just say that to someone unironically.
We are.
You better not be having a stupid Christmas elf storyline in here!
I'm one of Santa's helpers.
Save it for Baywatch nights, Freako. I've got an obviously dying, but I haven't realized it because I'm an idiot, girlfriend to get to.
I'm sorry, we didn't mean to be eavesdropping.
That's not a thing anyone says!
I can't believe you got all this foam and plastic shavings for me.
Some Christmas elves help me do it, and I hate them.
We don't actually see the elves helping with any of this in the Christmas fun montage, by the way. They just throw snowballs with everyone else.
Dad, that's the guy that chased us under the pier!
You're under Christmas arrest!
Please enjoy this action scene Christmas music. It's only natural at this point to question what you're seeing, but this is in fact a Baywatch action scene in which Mitch and company pursue a child-harassing criminal with the help of Christmas elves, who throw presents at the culprit to slow him down. Beautiful. Were they stuffing ice cubes in his mouth? Why? The money goes to the priest, Kyla and Joey turn over a new leaf, and Tracy and Eyebrows have their faith restored in Christmas via Santa's elves. Caroline is wondering why she was here, and so are we. So what about those elves anyway? Were they really Santa's helpers?
Benny gave me his address if I ever want to write to him or if I ever needed anything.
Benny the elf? Care of Chris Kringle?
Not You saw it here, folks. Concrete proof. Stick that in your corncob pipe and smoke it.
Well, I guess there's a Santa after all.
He said with the least amount of conviction possible. Merry Christmas, I guess. Oh god, they've seen us! Next time on Baywatch, Logan needs a green card. Meanwhile, Mitch and his mom disapprove of each other's relationships. Hot grandma action. Who cares? Last episode's overstuffed insanity has me wiped and underwhelmed by this generic-ass rubber ducky race plot. You hear the name and just think, who gives a shit? Not me, I don't. Guess what you're getting, audience? More of this asshole.
It's gonna be a piece of cake, Barnett.
But Australians have been racing these boats for years. We've been doing it a week.
Alright, firstly, kudos for giving Shippy somewhat of a plot this week. It's very generous of you, show. Secondly, was that supposed to be an Australian accent, or kind of Irish? I mean, I thought mine was pretty bad, but accents are not Shippy's forte. Anyway, Rubber Ducky is the name of this specific kind of boat, and apparently Logan is the Rubber Ducky Champion of Australia, whatever that means. Eyebrows jealously decides to enter the competition against him, as CJ explains, forgetting the reason he hates Logan's guts is because he wanted to get with Caroline at the time. Logan has joined this competition with his old Tasmanian partner, Gator, his biblical name. Logan and Gator are basically the same person. Oi! Sinister Logan reveals he needs to get a green card to stay in the country, and he's been seducing that rich beach resort lady you don't even remember as a last-minute plan to get married and stay. But before he sinks that low, he asks Gator if he can help him buy a green card illegally. Thanks, mate. You're welcome, mate. I love you. Anyway, Caroline is jealous of Logan's cheating ass for some mystifying reason.
You're crazy, you know that? I mean, you are definitely worse with men than I am.
Are we friends?
Meanwhile, Mitch's mom is back. Now that her husband is totally dead off screen of Emmy Cancer, she's single and ready to mingle. Where that ass at?
Hi.
You look great.
Forget Tracy. Mom's where it's at.
Mitch introduces his mother to Tracy, but uh-oh, now that his father is 6 feet under, she's taken on his mantle as disapproving parent. Perhaps Mitch shouldn't have started things off by calling Tracy his scat trainer.
She's filling in here at Baywatch and training me on the scat.
Meanwhile, Caroline airs out some of her frustrations. Actually, she's still mad about Logan, who shows up to tell her that she should totally forgive him, because in reality, he doesn't love Beach Resort Lady. He doesn't explain why this makes it okay, but apparently that's enough for Caroline.
Maybe someday I'll make up for it.
You mean it?
I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it.
I have some deep-seated relationship issues.
Man, everything Caroline does wrong in a relationship could fill a psychology textbook. Hey, dingoes ate my baby. Mom Buchanan reveals that she's disapproving because she feels Mitch is rushing into things. Mom Buchanan, you've known him longer than I have. You never got the gist that every woman who smiles at him is his soulmate? But then she reveals he's asked Hobie how he'd feel about him marrying Tracy. Whoa, dude! You guys have been dating for like 2 seconds, and she didn't even seem that into it to begin with. Mom Buchanan is right. This relationship is doomed.
You know, you remind me so much of your dad. So many ways.
The way you berate your son and define yourself solely by your career choice. Your love of Coke.
It's Pepsi again, Mom. Pepsi! You know nothing of my life!
Wow, 2 minutes after that half-assed non-apology, and we're already onto Caroline and Logan fantasy sequences, huh? Name one person who's in a healthy relationship on this show at this point. Ow, ow, ow!
Did you take all these photos?
Yeah.
Yeah, Caroline's photography is great. She was always taking still shots from the episodes. That's definitely what she was doing. Man, I'm all for having a recurring antagonist on this show, but Logan's not even good at bullshitting. He makes up some story about getting the ring around his neck from the leader of an aboriginal tribe who he saved from quicksand, and some random thing about the wearer being blessed with the spirit of eternal love. Whatever. Caroline eats all of this up like Summer going on a Twinkie binge. Beach Resort Lady and him are finito. He's totes still in love with Caroline. That's right, baby. You were always the one for me. Ew. Meanwhile, Mitch is busy being judgy of his mom for not dating 2 years after Dad Buchanan died. Mitch, how long did you continue your on-again, off-again with Gail? But Mitch is a growing boy. He needs a father figure. Conveniently, Mom Buchanan has found just that.
Suddenly I hate this idea. You two dating doesn't affect my life in the slightest. My mother's happiness comes last.
I guess this guy was one of Lifeguard Old Man's friends, but fuck it, I don't remember him. Oh man, this is too wacky. Hey, it could be worse, Mitch. She could be dating this guy.
I'm gonna get a cream soda. You want anything, Grandpa?
Maybe I should. All of a sudden my mouth feels dry as a bone.
Don't worry, Grandpa. My male stunt double will get us to shore.
Okay, old man, be honest. Would you or wouldn't you date my mom? Would you or wouldn't you date my mom?
I still don't understand why she grounded the boat on the beach.
Look, it's not that complicated of a story, Mom Cannon.
Wow, that looks delicious.
Thanks. I bought it from the store and put it in the oven to pretend I made it.
Mitch is having none of this gross dating stuff from his mother. How dare someone flirt with her and treat her well? He might also want to murder him? Apparently, old man McBoyfriend here has a reputation for being somewhat of a pickup artist. But so what? What if Mitch's mom just wants a fling? She's a grown-ass woman, she can play the field. Off to Acapulco to have tons of sex. Can't wait until your girlfriend dies and you know exactly how I feel. See ya, loser! Meanwhile, Logan and beach resort lady might not be as done as he implied. She claims they're getting married, and Caroline is suddenly less charmed by his asshole ways.
I thought you changed despite not changing at all. Enough of these mind games, Logan!
Logan explains the situation, saying he hasn't told beach resort lady yet that he isn't actually going to marry her. Oh, well that changes everything! Caroline even goes so far as to suggest that he could marry her instead. Ugh, I can't even. Oh, and he's gotta win the race so he can use the prize money to pay for his green card. Snore! The stakes have never been lower.
Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun.
Caroline's gonna rescue Eyebrows, but she's gonna pose sexily while she does it.
I'm okay. Get back.
Thanks, Shippy's ADR to cover for me just swimming right by you. I mean, how okay can he be? He apparently can't swim 5 feet over to turn Eyebrows face up. What a heroic sacrifice. This was Shippy's story all along, when you think about it. With a sudden change of heart, Logan loses the race and gets married to beach resort lady. I mean, yeah, he saved Eyebrows' life, but he is still dicking around a perfectly innocent woman to stay in the States, even after someone who actually knows his motives offered. Guess that's what makes me the morally ambiguous hero you all know and love.
This is for you.
Your bullshit necklace! Now I love-hate you even more!
Meanwhile, Tracy and Gators suddenly know each other? That tracks. I mean, they're both Australian, and how big of a country can it be? Mostly this scene is here to hit us over the head with a hammer some more.
Don't you think he's got a right to know?
Next time on Baywatch, Stephanie and Riley are held hostage by an environmental terrorist. Meanwhile, Mitch plays a practical joke on Garner. Joker's wild. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, whoa, this montage goes real slow, something, kiss there, girl. So anyway, while Stephanie and Riley continue their romantic trip around the world, Caroline does what she does best, complain jealously about everyone else's good fortune.
Why is she sailing around the world with your boyfriend when she could be a local sea witch like me?
You can't blame Caroline, though. She just misses her big sis.
The best part of this trip is never having to see my bitchy sister's face. I hate her guts. Kiss me, you fool.
Riley and Stephanie's tour de makeout is cut short when they discover a burning boat nearby.
Son of a Mitch!
I'm Crow.
Yeah, pleased to meet you, whatever. You got anything I could be self-righteous about in there?
Meanwhile, a bike thief.
Hey! You stole my bike!
I got the feeling an anthropomorphized lemon is calling for help. Damn, guess he didn't need Garner after all. Didn't realize bike revenge was an Olympic sport now. Okay, dude, the bike's not worth that much. That's what you get for being a hero! Good lord, Mitch once fought a samurai and less action happened than this. I'm a bike thief, man! I've got nothing to lose! I'm no lawyer, but a cursory Google search tells me that stealing a bike is petty larceny and is like a year jail time max, but since the item was almost immediately recovered, he'd probably not even get that. What I'm saying is, maybe resorting to attempted murder of a police officer is an unwarranted escalation. Luckily for Garner, suddenly there's a black female lifeguard who only exists for this one episode. You know, old she's been a staple at Baywatch headquarters for years. Are you a parking ticket? 'Cause you got fine written all over you. Garner is stung by the love bug. A strong, sexy woman rescued him from the most dangerous bike thief of all time. He's not gonna let a catch like that get away. That is, unless the biggest asshole in the world shows up to ruin things for his own sick kicks.
Garner?
Oh, nothing, just glad to see another lifeguard with a permanent tag.
That's how you know I'm getting a subplot. Hey, how do we fit Aquafresh into a scene somehow so we can rake in that sponsor money? Well, I don't know, just put it on top of a locker or something.
Okay, so here, Mitch plants the seed of possibly one of the lamest pranks of all time. He claims that this new lifeguard, Catherine, is deaf in her right ear due to a rescue gone wrong, so Garner should only talk it to her left. Later, he claims the same thing about Garner to Catherine, making up wholesale a story about Garner defusing a kidnapping situation and a gunshot blasting out his eardrum. What kind of jackass makes up emotionally manipulative stories like that to fellow professional lifesavers, one of whom is supposedly his best friend? All for the ultra-hilarious payoff of sometimes they dance around each other awkwardly while trying to be tactful about a made-up hearing problem? Why does Mitch have this ghoulish, ruin everyone's new relationships fetish? Is this supposed to be quirky or something?
The die has been cast.
Meanwhile, Stephanie and Riley hang out with stranded boat lady, who talks about how sad it is that man is destroying nature.
The ocean's definitely a lady under attack.
Whoa, really makes you think.
Oh, no one listens, Stephanie. No one cares.
There are a lot of people out there like you, Cora.
Yeah, well, then they're asleep. And they need a desperate wake-up call.
Well, she seems nice.
Yep.
Shut it, Riley. Let's make out some more.
To try and win Catherine over, Garner employs one of Mitch's techniques, the temptation of red meat.
I know a place where the steak sizzles so fine the cows line up to jump on the grill.
Good work, buddy.
I don't ordinarily eat meat, but I might make an exception tonight. I'll meet you in the parking lot in about 5 minutes.
You're talking about my ding-a-ling, aren't you?
Aw, yeah. Give me that ding-a-ling. I love you, Mitch.
Oh, and by the way, Coral is an environmental terrorist who wants to hijack their boat to fight pollution or something. Holy crap, this is pretty violent for a Baywatch fight. Guess they had to top murderous bike thief somehow. Speaking of which, maybe Garner wasn't able to overcome him due to being slightly chubby, which is deemed conversation-worthy for most of this scene.
Under this lies solid muscle.
Then why do you cover it up?
Because I like to eat.
That's right, Garner, you tell her. It's refreshing to see a guy who doesn't just eat salads and enjoys a good steakses.
Where are we going?
To get out of these clothes and experience real pleasure.
Aw, slam-a-lam-a-ding-dong, they're gonna— wait, what? Alright, I'm a little confused by the motorcycle montage out of nowhere, but damn, Gregory Allen Williams is smooth. I think I figured out why Mitch wants to break them up. He hates that it's everything his relationships aren't. Charming, sexy, and not very rapey. Meanwhile, things aren't looking so good in Stephanie Town. She's tied up, Riley is stranded on an island, and Coral plans to blow up their boat to, I shit you not, destroy an oil rig, and somehow this will save the ecosystem? I don't even know, man. The show decides to undercut any sort of tension by following up this somewhat dark scene with this. Mitch to the rescue! Riley is saved!
You sure Stephanie just didn't go with her voluntarily?
And leave me here? No way.
Looks like someone has a high opinion of himself.
But hey, this gives these two heroes some time to bond.
Stephanie can take care of herself.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't need anyone. That's a problem.
Took you 2 months at sea to find that out?
It's the Mitch Buchanan ruins everyone else's relationships 2-for-1 special.
Hey, did anyone else notice Mitch turns into a chipmunk when he laughs?
You're not deaf in your left ear?
Deaf? Me? No! Mitch told me you—
Yeah, whatever. We know where this is going. Wow, what a magical— oh, we're supposed to be scared or something.
This is the least competent kidnapping I've ever been part of. You're getting a scathing Yelp review from me after this.
I'll go. I know the boat.
No, I know explosives.
How's that again? I know Mitch has been almost blown up on several occasions now, but that doesn't make him a bomb expert.
Stupid Mitch, I'll rescue myself. I'll gnaw my way out.
Explosives expert here. The day is saved.
But oh well, none of this bomb diffusing stuff matters because they just throw the bomb in the air and let it go boom anyway.
Whoa, I can't believe how I was really reacting to that.
She wants to clean up hazardous waste. Start with her.
You hear that, guys? I said she wants to clean up hazardous waste. Really makes you think about, how precious life is and stuff. And how I could really grow old with Stephanie.
Hey Riley, I'm breaking up with you.
I was a rich and valuable character.
How about that death prank though, huh?
Why are we whispering?
Catherine and Garner told me that your ears were hypersensitive since the explosion. You couldn't tolerate loud noises.
Payoff not worth it.
Next time on Baywatch,
the show desperately pleads for a cancer Emmy. Meanwhile, Logan and Caroline take on some reckless beach kids. Bogus! Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and dogs, and please enjoy this very special episode of Baywatch. It's Emmy Cancer time! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! You might recall when I introduced the concept of Emmy Cancer in the Season 3 episode A Matter of Life and Death, in which Mitch's disapproving architect father is given the big C and subsequently dies off screen in a cheap ploy to tug at viewers' heartstrings. Well, now that we're in Season 5, we're ass-deep in the thick of Emmy gambits, and while they give us many different flavors of tragedy to choose from, their favorite is, of course, cancer. That being said, you probably know where this episode is going. We are in for some manly, Hasselhoff-sized tears tonight. But first, here's Logan and Caroline's plot about irresponsible jet skiers.
How dare you abuse your Wave Runner TM privilege like that?
Oi, do you think one of those guys would marry me so I can get my green card?
Listen, are you sure those are the same two guys in the Wave Runner?
I know them in a sea of wave runners. Their style is unmistakable.
Ah yes, that unmistakable style of riding around in circles. That's what makes them stand out in a sea of Wave Runner TMs.
Emmy attack!
Tracy jumps in to help, but starts to struggle in the water. Could this have anything to do with her totally non-transparent secret-y secret she's been keeping while talking about how she's got one last chance to do everything she's ever wanted to do and looking wistfully into the distance? That's all very well and good, but the true heartache of this episode is this guy wearing socks on the beach.
My save! I'd rather be dead.
Tracy and the old man are successfully rescued. Fortunately, it was only a cramp and he wasn't hurt. Well, it's a good thing Tracy isn't continuing to work as a lifeguard while knowing she's got a terminal disease that would affect her performance and potentially cost lives, cause that'd be terribly irresponsible. Later in the day, Stephanie, you're not usually this impulsive Holden, brings Mitch the engagement ring he plans to present to the woman we've known for 5 episodes. That makes 2 engagements for Mitch in this season alone. He's gonna rack up quite the collection of ex-wives.
I'm gonna grow old with her, and she's definitely not gonna die of cancer. Just like you and Riley, huh, Stephanie?
Oh, he's dead.
What if Tracy says no? I mean, Gail said no when I asked her to marry.
No, she actually said yes and attended your lifeguard-themed lifeguard wedding at Lifeguard Beach. She just broke it off later when she realized you were a lifeguard.
Notice how I'm not jealous this time? I love being inconsistent.
Thanks, Splendid Tits. I sure do love living, I'll tell you what. Living is the best. If I had to choose between life and death, I'd choose life. Living, living, living. That's for me. Tracy, I've thought long and hard about this living thing, and you'd make me the happiest person alive if you would accept my marriage proposal on this non-cancerous day.
I'm dying.
All the good women are either serial killers or dying of cancer. Mitch has the worst luck. She reveals she was given an estimate of 2 months to live exactly 2 months ago, which is why she's walking around looking fresh as a daisy, but is occasionally tired, like all cancer patients in their last days. She lost a small tuft of hair. Look at how the chemo has ravaged her once beautiful body. Brace your fragile, broken little hearts, people, because you're about to be stabbed in the gut with some Emmy acting.
This is a mistake, right? How could I not know?
The
because I hid it from you. The only mistake was mine in allowing you to fall in love with me.
That's right. It was the terminally ill woman's fault for letting Mitch creepily insert himself into her life against her wishes. But how could she resist his charms? The moment she saw Mitch, she was already dead.
I love you, Emmy. Psych! Tracy isn't really dying. It was all a revenge prank to get back at you for telling me Catherine was deaf. Why would you do that? Jeez, Mitch, someone doesn't have a sense of humor.
Sup, Dad? What you doing?
Oh, just planning a dying trip for the woman I got your hopes up about becoming your new mother.
Luckily, Mitch isn't breaking Tracy's trust by going around telling every ding-dang person in the world about her secret cancer.
Yeah, Tracy's dying.
Tracy's dying.
Who the hell is Tracy?
Dear Diary, ugh, Tracy dying is the worst. The person most affected by this tragedy is me.
I'm trying to act normal, but I don't know what normal is anymore. I mean, how could somebody so beautiful and vital be dying?
Only ugly people die, Stephanie. Only ugly people die!
God, this acting is so beautiful. If you took David Hasselhoff's performance in this and bottled it, you could sell it to hospitals and actually cure cancer.
You know, my dad died. And my mom misses him. But she's got a lifetime of memories.
And you feel cheated.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Stephanie offers up some of her usual advice, but this time it's actually helpful. Being angry will just eat Mitch up inside and rob him of the time he has left with Tracy. He needs to, as the title says, seize the day. And like any woman with a heartbeat, Tracy would love nothing more than to spend her last days montaging to David Hasselhoff love songs.
These are the days of our love, and we'll stand together the test of time, and forever you'll be mine.
Except of course when you die, which will be pretty soon.
Hey, Dad, what happened to Tracy?
I don't know. I lost her somewhere in the montage.
Let's go, Kung Fu Master! Practice out.
Don't worry, Tracy. You're gonna get better. We've got Dr. Shark looking out for you, and he's the best doctor in town. I can't believe I wasted our last moments playing frisbee with stupid Hobie.
And I guess those reckless jet skiers have an accident and learn some sort of lesson about being more careful on the beach. Whatever, get to the dying!
If I could touch you one more time.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I mean, okay, this might be sadder if their dying love montage wasn't so stretched for clips that they included the scene where Mitch grinds up on her creepily and she tells him to back off. I'm just saying.
I already paid for the ring! You just got pranked!
Every now and then, let's talk about Tracy and all the cool stuff she did, alright?
That's not gonna happen.
Wait a minute. Is that a naked dude over there? What the fuck? Next time on Baywatch, Baywatch thinks they can handle AIDS. Oh, and CJ trains for a ballroom dancing class. It takes two to tango. Whew, with things getting a little heated with current events in the world, I'm glad we have Baywatch to turn to so we can shut our brains off and escape from the tough issues. Let's take a California vacation and carve out some of that sweet ocean of entertainment. Oh, by the way, this episode is about AIDS. This might be new information for some of the younger folks in the audience, but around this period in history, AIDS was a hugely controversial topic to even discuss. This mostly had to do with its associations with the gay community, which meant it was very hush-hush and misunderstood. This episode aired in 1995, and people still believed you could catch AIDS via mouth-to-mouth contact. And while things had improved since the 80s, we still had a long way to go. The reason I'm bringing this up is to say that this episode is fairly progressive as far as Baywatch goes. Granted, they play it very safe, and they really wanted to nab themselves an Emmy, but the fact it exists is pretty interesting.
Man, Baywatching sucks now. I hate that she talks about the real world sometimes, not the stuff I care about.
So this all begins when Caroline resuscitates a drowning victim, who, I shit you not, goes by Ron Bad Boy Purcell, and Logan suddenly starts getting antsy about her not using a pocket mask. To make things worse, Bad Boy Purcell doesn't take too kindly to their help.
I can't make it back to shore on my own. I don't want to make it at all.
Caroline! He has AIDS.
Turns out Bad Boy was a star athlete, but once he contracted AIDS, he lost his sponsors, his girlfriend, his truck, and his ability to listen to country music without weeping. More on this laugh riot later, but first, let's check in on Shuckles Buchannon.
I'll always love you.
Don't ever leave me, Tracy.
I won't.
Oh, come on now. She couldn't have possibly promised that. Tracy's death is so last episode. It's time for him to move on. Hobie decides to help push things along by calling into a radio station for love advice on his behalf.
Dad hasn't ordered me to cook or clean in 6 months. I'm getting worried about him. Should I join a gang of troubled youths or something?
Everyone knows there's no quick solution to heartbreak. Mitch has just gotta let the healing process come naturally. Just kidding. 9 minutes of screen time past his almost fiance's untimely death is long enough. Could this artist listening to Hobie's call be the one that can help break through Mitch's bad television depression? Wait a minute, how the hell did she know what they looked like from a radio call? Is she a serial killer? How long has she been watching them? Meanwhile, CJ is training for a ballroom dance competition. One of these plots is not like the others. I'll leave you to guess which one. Anywho, she's training with Angelo, played by choreographer Joseph Malone. Emmy check, he was nominated for 2, Baywatch was nominated for none. Angelo's former partner watches jealously, but I can't see why that is. Meanwhile, Mitch receives a pile of hot, depressed, single dad fan letters from the radio station. He's grieving and accessible.
Dad, I thought you'd be happy. I aired your very personal loss for everyone to hear.
Well, I am, because I love attention! I'm gonna go get some lunch because I need an excuse to get away from you, though, so bye!
Looks like I'm the lifeguard lieutenant today. I'm Dad, I love my son. Burger, burger, my save.
I am a registered nurse who practices massage therapy. I can ease your pain.
Sounds like a bunch of namby-pamby nonsense. As the resident feminist, I am disgusted by all of this attention that's not on me.
Wow. This is the one. I know it.
Dad loves kids. Let's meet the 5-year-old who drew this.
Looking a little chunky there, Hopester.
And that's not the only piece of art she made. And that's not the only piece of shit she made for Mitch.
Well, looks like a bunch of junk.
Sure is. I thought it'd be a cooler reveal than that.
Hobie decides to call up the artist so she can meet his dad, and things start going to Creepsville straight away. She recognizes his voice immediately and seems unsurprised by his call, and then tells him that the drawing looks so similar to them because that's the image that came to her while listening to the show. So it turns out she's not a stalkery murderer, she's just psychic. How silly of me.
Great, then you can meet us on the Santa Monica Pier. We'll be on the Ferris wheel.
On the Ferris wheel.
Ah, well if anyone knows true psychic energy, it's Hobie, the Vision Boy. Ha ha ha, psychics. Anyway, back to AIDS.
Because the pasta's gonna get cold. But I'm not.
Ah, Caroline's classic pasta seduction technique. As you recall, the last time we were updated on Logan and Caroline's relationship status, he gave her his bullshit ring as a promise he'd always be a shithead. 2 star-crossed lovers separated by his dishonest marriage to a rich socialite so he can get a green card. But I guess now they're making out and having pasta dinners together because continuity, what's that? Despite their rock-solid relationship, something isn't quite right. Logan pulls away from their kiss because Caroline gave mouth-to-mouth to someone with AIDS, and while she reminds him that you can't get it from mouth-to-mouth, he's not taking that risk. Now he's determined to get pocket masks available for all lifeguards at all times. That's right, the one time Logan actually gives a shit about something, and this is it. He's gonna protect lifeguards from CPR AIDS. Which brings me to some real-life trivia, and that is the actor who plays Logan, Jason Simmons, is totally gay. Now, while he was in the closet until 2008, according to an interview with him, he was in a relationship during his time on the show, and his co-stars knew about his sexuality. As a side note, they were totally cool about it, so that's nice. Whether this means this extends to the crew or not, I don't know, but I do find it suspect that their one gay actor is saddled with the AIDS plot. And while the public service aspect is appreciated, having his character be the one worried about mouth-to-mouth AIDS transference is a little unfortunate.
What about the dinner?
I'm not hungry.
I could get pasta AIDS. See ya. I'm a great boyfriend. Fine, more pasta for me!
Do you got anything for a wetty rash? Aren't you gonna rub it on me?
Put it back when you're done.
I don't know why this scene happens. It's not relevant to anything else. I can only assume this episode came up 30 seconds short. Anyway, off to the dance contest.
We're a thing that's sure gonna happen.
CJ wants to make sure her breasts are securely in place, so she asks Mitch for help. No, really, that's what's happening. He's so grief-stricken, he's not even interested in CJ's love melons.
Now dip me.
Ew, she's not dying of cancer. Not interested.
Believe it or not, this is a plot point.
I'm gonna use what Hobie's doing as inspiration for my dance.
Well, then it's gonna be a disaster, because that's the way these things always end up.
Jeez, look at negative Nancy over here. She's acting even pissier than Logan Dingo's Ate My AIDS Fowler. Unfortunately for CJ, Angelo's gotten back together with his ex-partner and left her high and dry. Now who's she gonna dance with?
See, I was right, CJ. Bad things happen to bad people.
Boo-hoo! This situation is even worse than my horrible fake crying.
Things might be going badly for CJ, but Mitch is about to have a date with Destiny.
Man, that chili cheese dog came back with a vengeance. Time to refill with a fried jalapeno Texas-style onion burger.
Would you excuse me just for a second? I gotta throw my son off the top of that Ferris wheel.
Haha, good joke.
Yes, a joke.
After Jesse died of AIDS, I was angry at the world.
Who's Jesse? Oh, who cares? It makes our episode have a theme or something.
That's a great t-shirt. Oh, thanks. It's a new way I'm thinking of exposing people to art.
Aw, I hate her already.
Get ready for this, folks. It's a subplot tie-in twofer. Mitch, being the gentleman that he is, agrees to be CJ's dance partner, and they totally do this unchoreographed dance together. Mitch is many things, including a trained dancer, apparently. Mitch didn't do the boob check. Cue the bad sound editing.
CJ's humiliation has taught me a valuable lesson about overcoming loss.
Meanwhile, bad boy Purcell has a serious death wish, but when a nearby boat capsizes, he puts aside his suicidal tendencies to help with the rescue. Doing so makes him realize that he does make a difference in the world. Caroline believed in him, and so does he now.
Wait a minute, I'm the hero of this story. I redesigned the rescue cans so they'd have pocket masks built in. This actually has many practical uses, but since in this story it's being used in the service of harmful disinformation, I'm still an asshole. I love you,
I think these are my favorite times together. Just me and you walking on the beach.
Well, enjoy it while you can, pal, because you're getting older and less cute, and we're gonna be doing a lot less of this.
For a long time, you've been calling me pal, even though I'm your son. Why is that?
Well, that's because I don't like you very much.
Wait, why was the artist psychic? What was the point of that?
Next time on Baywatch,
Logan has repressed memories about fire. Meanwhile, it's daddy issues all around. Happy Father's Day! Man oh man, last episode had some depressing topics. Let's move on to some lighter subjects, like dead dads. But first, a full minute and a half of scenery set to easy listening. Ah, so boring. Things heat up when Logan suddenly remembers he's afraid of fire. That's right, they've rolled up daddy issues and repressed memory PTSD plots into one big burrito of fun this episode.
Logan!
Sorry, I was just remembering some really shitty fire effects. Meanwhile, they finally replaced the A&W machine rather than just covering it up with see-through banners. They were always in Coke's corner. Eyebrows is depressed because his dad was supposed to fly in from France and meet him, but he was too busy and didn't make it. I thought he was supposed to be like a screenwriter or novelist or something. He must be super famous to be making all of these international flights and meetings. Stephanie invites him to celebrate Father's Day with her, Hobie, and Mitch. And with two of the attendants having fathers that died tragically, I'm sure that'll be a blast. Eyebrows refuses, saying Hobie's cooking is just too spicy for him. Nice to see the show remembered his 15-second foray into the world of cooking. He's gonna need these skills to fall back on when his music career inevitably fails.
It wasn't too spicy, was it? Oh, no. It was perfect. It was great.
What's for dessert?
Ice cream. Jalapeno flavor.
Hobie gives Mitch a fish tie as a Father's Day gift. Perhaps he too will learn a lesson this episode about shitty presents.
You don't know me at all, Hopester!
Mom Buchannon has also shown up for this occasion, and she gives Mitch a package from 1988 she found addressed to him from his father. For whatever reason, he never gave it to him. What could it possibly be? Mitch's dad never showed him any affection on account of him disapproving of Mitch's non-architect career choice. Mitch waits to open it to keep the audience in non-suspense for half the episode, but I'm just gonna fast forward and let you know now because it's not that exciting. It's a lifeguard scrapbook.
My Medal of Valor.
Wow, I sure am awesome. Thanks, Dad. I'm glad we resolved the same issues we covered the episode you died of Emmy Cancer.
I love you, Dad.
Shut up, Hobie. This is my moment.
I noticed you were scared of that fire, so I thought we could lounge around in front of a fireplace tonight.
Fireplaces used to mean sexy times for me, but now they're just pain.
Logan, are you paying attention to me? Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, I get this is supposed to be like a moment of contemplation or whatever, but this kind of comes off like Caroline is controlling him, like some sort of insidious puppet master.
What does it start out as?
Fire. Flame.
Out of the way! There's someone on the beach with a terminal illness that I haven't shamed yet!
Someone calls in a boat fire, and Logan and Mitch rush in for the save.
Oh no, sudden repressed memories! Eh!
By the way, this next footage is unedited. I just find Slow-Mo Mitch hilarious.
Aw, music video pose!
I'm too cool to go in there.
Wow, I'm not even trying to hide that this isn't a real baby. You'd think that was a mistake for this one shot, but no, appears to be a conscious choice. Job badly done, Logan. My save times 3!
It just doesn't make any sense. I've done nothing likable at all, and now the audience is supposed to sympathize with me? Who does the writing on this show?
Hey Logan, me and my battery pack just wanted to check and see how you're doing.
Caroline suspects the fire fear is a memory, so she convinces Logan to go see a hypnotist friend of hers, as you do. The puppet master pulls the strings again. Logan flashes back to his childhood, before he had an Australian accent.
Daddy, wait for me. Can I come with?
Now, I can't confirm this, but this child is named Christopher Newman, and Numi does have a son named Chris in real life, so we might just be looking at Hollywood royalty right now. Then the show gets kinda artsy?
Fire.
Long story short, his dad died in a boat fire. Exactly like he'd planned. Black Baywatch trunks? I don't even know what's right and wrong anymore.
Whoa, check him out. No time for that though, it's stupid children o'clock.
You remind me of my dad, Mitch. I guess that makes you a real father figure.
Kid fell in a hole, gotta go!
It is pretty funny though.
Blow me down, I'll get him.
No, I'll do it.
The hole's too narrow, you won't fit.
You son of a Mitch!
Spider Logan, he's Australian, Spider Logan. Wow, pulling that stupid child out of a hole has really helped me overcome my fear of fire.
I hear ya. This has taught me a valuable lesson about respecting my dead architect father.
Looks like we're not that different after all, mate.
Papa?
Bonsoir, c'est Matt.
I'm just calling to wrap up my story, which literally hasn't come up in the episode since that one scene in the beginning. Exactly nothing has changed, but I guess I'm happy now. Bonsoir, papa! Next time on Baywatch, Mitch's old friend stops by for some lifeguarding, but his techniques are a little rough for this beach. Meanwhile, Logan needs a green card again. Take 2. Every once in a while, I come across an episode of Baywatch I have absolutely no memory of watching, and this is one of them. So let's find out what happens together, shall we? Also, missed opportunity not calling the last episode Fire with Fire, what with that whole fire theme, but fine. We open up with Logan doing some street luge, a term I had to look up because, I don't know, I don't go outside, so I guess I learned something today.
It's called a street luge.
Fine, whatever. I did look it up before he said it though. Bates Leathers? Whoa, I see where this is going. So hey, remember how last episode ended with Caroline comforting Logan over his newfound memories of his father dying in a horrible accident, thus bringing them closer together as a couple? Well, now Caroline's mad again because of all these dangerous sports he participates in. And I guess also because he's still married to rich beach resort lady and that's keeping them apart.
I suddenly remembered this was going on!
Weird since we seem to be officially together the last couple of episodes.
I know, rearranging the airing order has made our relationship very confusing!
She gives him his bullshit ring back and says they're donezo.
I can't live on hopes and dreams anymore.
But I've been an utterly repulsive human being with little to no redeeming qualities. How can you break up with me?
Oh jeez, here we go. What's the dealio, bitchster?
I mean, you can't carry on a meaningful relationship with a married man. Not unless you're married to him.
Oh, thanks for the actually, Stephanie. Didn't you cheat on your husband with Mitch? Yeah. Remember how your husband cheated on you?
Nobody can seem to agree on anything this episode. They can't even decide what time of day it is.
Have a good day.
Morning.
Mitch's old friend, Andy Jameson, played by football star Tim Reitman, has arrived at the beach to fill in as a lifeguard so he can stay on the active list. An old friend of Mitch's? Well, I'm sure this will go well. And look at this human brick. He seems like someone who's going to make some well-informed decisions. Andy's just your average beach tai chi, part-time lifeguard, part-time sheriff. Your everyman, if you will. Everyone's having a grand old time till he notices some bums on the beach, and that gets him steamed.
Those guys aren't interested in having a roof over their heads. The only thing they're interested in is getting loaded.
That's right! Homeless people are the worst! Stephanie finds his abrasive attitude a little off-putting, but Mitch is here to show her how silly she sounds.
Why? Because he's not sensitive to the plight of the homeless?
They deserve to be stereotyped as lazy drunks. Stephanie, you're being so insensitive right now.
And like, Andy's supposed to be a jerk for saying that thing about homeless people, but it turns out he's totally right. They're a bunch of drunk creeps.
I'm never going back. Unless she comes back with me.
I mean, yeah, he's being really aggressive, but there is a sign about alcohol, and they do make the first swing, so this is kinda on all of them. After the scuffle, he's in so much trouble, he gets called to the principal's office.
I want you in on this meeting when Andy gets here. He needs to hear it from both of us.
Hear what?
That lifeguards are cops.
Okay, Mitch is being a little lenient this episode, but it's understandable from everything we've seen previously that he might be confused about lifeguards being like the police. Probably worth noting that excessive force is illegal also for cops, but I guess the essence of the complaint is the same. Meanwhile, holy schmoly, how many Oreos does Caroline need?
I lead such a happy and fulfilling life!
Logan drops by to tell her that his marriage with beach resort lady is over. Since his green card was on hold, that means he still needs to get one, and that entire subplot went nowhere. Cool beans! I sure toyed with that woman's emotions. She was an innocent bystander, and Hurricane Logan ruins everyone's lives.
Yay, we're back together! I have the willpower of a gnat!
Let's check in on Mitch. Logan goes to Stephanie for help. He tells her that if his employer says that his services are essential, he can earn his green card that way. But will the blood oath be worth it, Logan? Will it be worth it?
Well, Logan, I'll help you on this, but first you must complete a series of tasks. Behind me is a secret passageway to the Maze of Despair. After you fight the Minotaur, I'll give you further instruction.
Can I eat a seagull?
It's the end of the day, and those nefarious beach bums are at it again. They're tired of sleeping outdoors, so they plan to, steal a lifeguard truck?
He must have OD'd or something.
Haha, we're gonna put on our masks after we've already talked to him in plain view. That makes sense.
Idiot! Little did you know, I'm a kickboxer as well as a lifeguard.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I'm a former Navy SEAL, I won the Ironman competition, and I'm a dancer!
How can one man be so talented? Hooray! I'm unclear on what we gain from this.
If I don't make it, I want it to be known that I went out fighting. I went out fighting!
No, you said it. You went out farting.
I didn't mean that!
It is pretty funny, Mitch.
Alright, let's get Fart Boy out of here.
Oh, thank God Mitch only had 10 seconds of screen time to recover from that one. I was worried. With the other lifeguards concerned that they too could fall victim to truck-stealing hobos, Andy offers some free self-defense lessons.
Lieutenant Buchanon's first mistake was approaching a victim without this device.
He kicked a gun out of the dude's hands and had a full-on battle with him. I'm not really sure how much better he could have done with the can, to be honest. Mitch hates that this is making him look bad. Will he finally see past his friendship with Andy to the true danger he presents? Never mind, look at this sweet training montage. Step aside, Mitch, you've been replaced by someone much cooler. What is he doing with Ledge here? Is he teaching them how to snap necks? I love that they barely show any of the lifeguards applying the techniques he's demonstrating. It's mostly 2 minutes of him beating them up. Logan apparently is having the time of his life, though.
Okay, Mike, attack.
Whoa. He called Numi Mike? That's it, get this guy off the beach.
A gun in his tower? I'm beginning to suspect Andy might have some anger issues.
When Mitch confronts him about it, he reveals that he hasn't been the same since his wife was killed tragically. I need to make this funnier, so let's pretend she was killed by a roving gang of circus clowns. Meanwhile, what is it? Oh yeah, I guess Logan has that green card plot or whatever. Now that she and Logan are back together, Caroline is mad at Stephanie again for not liking him. Stephanie says the team will do fine without him, and Caroline argues that Logan is one of their best lifeguards. Pardon? Logan, I wish I was Trevor Fowler, is one of their best lifeguards?
Because if Logan goes to Australia, I'm just gonna go with him.
Hot damn, that's great news. But I am spiteful, and I love to prove you wrong, so green card it is. I got what I wanted, but I'm also needlessly combative, so fuck you, Stephanie!
Harry, no!
This is Caroline's fault. My save! Nope. Hashtag my save. Damn millennial. This is why avocados killed the housing industry.
Meanwhile, stealing a lifeguard truck to rob people apparently was a viable business plan and not utter nonsense, so those two bums have returned to the beach where their faces have definitely been seen and they're sure to immediately be caught. No fear, am I right? Oh, I wish my wife wasn't dead. Not only are these beach bums drunken, violent thieves, they're also a couple of rapists, apparently. Because why not pile it on? I was entirely correct in my harmful stereotyping, and excessive force is necessary. Boy, this is a well-written story.
Give me the gun, Andy. This isn't right. These two are completely harmless.
Didn't they hit you over the head with a gun?
Oh yeah, that's right. Get him!
Next time on Baywatch, court, action, suspense, Emmy Cancer, hot dog. This episode has everything. John Allen Nelson. Boom! Dr. Joyce Brothers. Pow! Random baseball player. Zing? Emmy Cancer. Ow! It's only been 4 episodes since the last Emmy Cancer, but who cares? You can never have too much deadly illness on this show. Sadly, this is Court's last appearance until the reunion movie, but boy is it a good one to go out on. Additionally, this is the sole episode of Baywatch John Allen Nelson has credit for writing, along with who appears to be a buddy of his that he wrote some other screenplays with. Best of the best too? That's right, John Allen Nelson co-wrote that. You can take that trivia to the bank. Hey, question, why was Eyebrows deemed the Mentos shiller this season? So remember the last time we saw Court? You know, the one where he tricked Mitch into a dune buggy race in Mexico so he could smuggle stolen Mayan artifacts he wanted a poker game into the US? The one that ended with him giving the artifacts to an orphanage before he and Mitch had a talk about coming to terms with his increasing blindness, but Court generally came out of it his usual cavalier self? Well, guess what? He wasn't okay at all. In fact, his life was falling apart. CJ and Eyebrows find him drunk, depressed, and homeless. That scamp. That's why they call him John Depression Court. Yeehaw! Now almost completely blind, Court has decided to just give up, much like Baywatch in a few years. He might be drunk and pathetic, but he can still do a sexy shower scene. Wait, are we back to A&W again? Baywatch, we can't keep dancing around like this. I need a stable soda figure in my life.
Why aren't you wearing these?
Damn it, CJ. You know how long it's been since I took part in a far-fetched scheme? I haven't impersonated an Arabian prince to charm a harem of attractive women in 6 months. What's the point of living anymore? This touching moment of blindness is brought to you by Naya Water. Hey look, there are people with bigger problems, like Mitch, who has to watch his son surf.
This sucks. No one has it harder than I do. Wait a minute. Do-do-do-do-do. My Emmy senses are tingling.
Kay has returned for one of her once or twice or none a season appearances, and she introduces Mitch to Nick, who is dying of leukemia. I think we've built up enough of a collection of terminally ill people to start an Emmy Cancer count. I'm not going to include the little girl from Lover's Cove since they never specify what it is she's dying from, so only counting confirmed cancer, this brings our number to 3. In addition to the leukemia, Nick's parents died in a car accident the year before. Sounds like he needs an ice-cold A&W or Coke. Kay does some volunteer work at the hospital and is taking Nick out for a fun day at the beach. And who better to spend time with than Mitch, cancer magnet Buchannon?
Sorry to bring up cancer again so soon after Tracy died, Mitch.
Who?
Man, it really bums me out when I see a kid like Nick.
I think we're all bummed out, pal.
I can hear you guys.
Living on wishes all my life.
I'm gonna shake that cancer right out of you.
Mitch has got to pull double inspirational duty this episode, so he sits down for a heartfelt talk with his old buddy Court.
I'll offer you anything you want. Food, money, place to stay, you name it.
Hobie's room is empty. You could stay there.
What?
You're with your mother! Hey, Court, I know how you feel, buddy. When I was paralyzed, I was pretty angry at the world, too.
You were paralyzed?
Oh, yeah, but I totally got over it. That was a weird thing. Too bad you can't just get over your blindness.
Mitch, why are we friends?
But you're not the only one who caught a bad break in this world. See the little guy out there surfing with Hobie?
Mitch, did you seriously just ask the blind guy if he could see something? Hearing about Nick's plight puts some things into perspective for Court. If that brave little boy can face cancer like a man, Court can make it through his blindness. Sounds like we've got a heartwarming parallel between these two stories of overcoming hardship and living life to the fullest. Boring! Let's spice up this little boy leukemia plot. Nick needs a bone marrow transplant to live, and his marine salvage brother is just the person to help. But unfortunately, a drug lord played by Richard Lynch kidnaps him and his wife so they can retrieve a stash of narcotics lost in some sea wreckage. I don't even know what to say to that. I hope the plot was John Ellen Nelson's idea, because this is batshit. 1/3 of the way into this episode, and things took a sharp left turn.
Yeah, and that's why they call me John Diabetic Court.
Oh, hey, Huffwife, what's up?
Upon hearing about Nick's missing brother, Mitch calls up off-screen Garner for help. But he's not in this episode, so it looks like they're gonna have to take matters into their own hands. Lifeguards aren't cops, am I right, Andy? Mitch's shirt is fabulous. 2 seconds into their search for Nick's brother, and Court is already suggesting some breaking and entering. All he really needed to get over his depression was a good old-fashioned adventure.
I forgot what I was even depressed about. I'm laughs aplenty.
Meanwhile, Eyebrows is jealous of CJ's previous relationship with Court. A, Eyebrows is a big fat cheater, and I'll never let the show forget it. And B, CJ was gonna leave him for a priest. What chance does he have compared to John Dadass Court?
What would happen if Summer came back and she was sick?
I'd cheat on you with her?
Exactly. Wait.
Great idea. Thanks, CJ. Then, I don't know. CJ becomes evil for a montage.
I love you. I'll kill you. Baseball player Mike Piazza, what should I do?
How should I know? I'm just on vacation with my family.
Fair enough.
And then the last time that you left, that's when Matt happened.
No, I distinctly remember Court being there when you got with Eyebrows, as it was a spite relationship to get back at him, but I mean, how's Court gonna be able to confirm this? He's blind!
I just want to thank you for always being there for me.
That's a full-on-the-mouth thank you kiss. Their makeout sesh is interrupted when Mitch gets a lead on Nick's brother. Implausibility, ahoy! Good luck, Cord! This is nothing. My blindness only makes my fighting skills thrive! How weird is this for Nick's sister-in-law? One minute she's kidnapped by drug lords, the next some randos just come barreling down the pier and start a martial arts brawl. Eyebrows goes to Kay for advice on CJ and Court. Why have all of his plots sucked so much lately?
He knows she's a sucker for his helpless little boy.
Yep, helpless little boy. That's definitely been Court's character up until now.
Your problem is you just don't give her enough credit.
Why a priest? You can have any man you want. That adores you, but a priest?
Meanwhile, some stupid thing about Cancer Kid trying to swim and needing to get rescued, I don't know. Wow, for someone who claimed he can barely see the back of his hand, I'm sure looking at things from a distance a lot in this episode. That's why they call me John Discrepancy Court. Hey, so why is Nick's brother a diver from the 1800s? Oh well, karate chop! Wow, my stunt double's wig is bad. Hey, it's me, Dr. Joyce Brothers. What the hell am I doing in this episode? Anyway, Nick's gonna be fine thanks to your quick actions. I'm a gnome!
Does this mean I can drive now?
No, you can't drive now.
Why not?
Yeah, that sure was my last line on the show proper. Giddy up, cowboy! Hey, I'm terrible at goodbyes, but hats off to Court, the most likable Baywatch character. You may have only been with us for a short while, but you made this show that much cooler, Texan, and blind. Thanks for everything, dude.
Why didn't you go with him?
He didn't ask me.
I love that she basically admits if Court had asked her, she totally would have left Eyebrows. These two are really gonna make it. Aww. Eyebrows leaves at the end of the season.
I'm glad you helped Court. And I'm glad that Summer hasn't come back.
Next time on Baywatch, Garner, Hobie, and Eyebrows team up to try and stop a couple of pickpockets. Meanwhile, Chinese refugees? Confused. Bada Nixon und Boat People! As this topless woman washes off, an alternate dimension Weird Al Yankovic stares in awe. This is probably what got her that role in Thunder in Paradise. Actually, I don't know, who cares? A topless woman? Now my skills come into play!
Tower 27.
Numi, can you do my job for me? No can do, loser. Oh, I have been snubbed!
Why do I always get the nutcases?
Eyebrows thought someone speaking Dutch was weird. His measuring scale for nutcases is not like normal people's.
Excuse me, ma'am, but you're gonna have to put your top back on. Leave her alone. Go back to your tower.
As a lifeguard, I am used to this shabby treatment. Your words cannot hurt me. Ew, sacre bleu!
I suppose you made her get dressed?
Yeah.
Rookie mistake. You'll learn.
I would point out Eyebrows has been a lifeguard for 3 years now, but I won't say no to Numi making fun of him. Hey, thanks for giving him some more screen time, Baywatch. He tells Eyebrows he owes him money after losing a bet on a game, and let's hope CJ gambling addiction Parker doesn't catch wind of it. So Eyebrows goes to get him his $20, only to find his wallet missing.
What?
It turns out the topless lady was no normal Baywatch time filler with no bearing on the rest of the plot. It was actually a clever distraction so that she and her accomplice can rob people. Eyebrows getting robbed? This is a new plot. I miss being rich. I'd just like to point out this may be the first scene Numi's carried where he's not diving off of a boat or punching people, and that fills me with such joy. All the men who were watching the woman stopped by to say they were robbed too, and to make the show even more dated.
We all got burned, man. They got my Walkman, my sunglasses, my watch, my Game Boy. You gotta do something, bro. This is like totally rude, dude. Right, man.
We talking about cool young people things, my dudes?
That's Mr. Dude.
Garner gets their statements, but no one but Eyebrows can tell him what her face looks like. Men, am I right?
What are the chances of you catching her?
Well, if you're gonna have that attitude, I might just quit the force and start a PI team with Mitch.
That sounds far-fetched, even for this show.
Next season, Matt. Next season.
And then he just laughs at Eyebrow's continuing misfortune, as he should. Meanwhile, Mitch is in a cool water transport plot, this time being instructed about paramotors, which is basically paragliding but with a giant fan.
You said you've flown a hang glider? It's practically the same thing.
Oh yeah, just like a hang glider. We all know how good Mitch is at those. Now just run hard and don't let up on the throttle until...
Yeah, whatever, I got this.
During the test run, Mitch spots a woman stranded in a raft.
Oh boy, this is gonna be rough.
What the heck is that thing?
A gimmick we probably won't see again, don't worry about it. Get it? 'Cause she's Chinese!
It was still my save!
Where do you think she's from, Mitch?
I don't know. She's speaking Chinese and turned up dressed in Chinese clothing. Take a wild guess, Caroline!
And Logan is from England!
Mitch deduces the woman ended up here on an immigration smuggling ship. Via some Pocahontas language magic, they are able to get her name out of her.
Caroline. Mitch. Caroline. Who are you? What is your name? Shunyi. Shunyi.
And we can paint with all the colors of the wind now!
Shun-Yi is played by Eugenia Ewan, who's done some cool stuff like being part of the US National Rhythmic Gymnastics team, and she can speak 4 languages, and her mom is martial arts legend Pei Chang. Oh, and also she's won the Hong Kong equivalent of an Oscar, but truly she will best be remembered as Chinese refugee woman from Baywatch.
What is this? What is this? Is this his name? Name?
Yeah, just keep repeating words, guys. That'll teach her English. Time for a trip to Chinatown. Mitch goes searching for Lin Hua, the woman listed on the envelope. The locals don't seem too keen on Mitch.
Could you tell me where this address is? 951.
Well, you were 30 feet away, Mitch. Maybe that's why everyone didn't want to bother with you. The door gets shut on him, which automatically tells Mitch a chase scene is coming up. A giant Bigfoot, run!
Why is everyone scared of a strange white man showing up at their door and chasing them down an alley? No, not empty boxes!
Admit it, you deserve that, Mitch. Yeesh, this is getting tense. Perhaps Mitch can break the ice with a timely Tanya Harding reference.
You know, Tanya Harding could have used a guy like you.
To do what? The exact same thing?
Well, yeah, because of the guy she hired to hit Nancy Kerrigan.
Actually, her ex-husband and her bodyguard hired that guy.
Well, that doesn't change my reference.
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying she already had a guy, so why would she need me?
You know what? Forget it. You ruined the joke.
For whatever reason, Lin Hua takes pity on Mitch and decides to hear him out. You see, it was all a comical mix-up. It turns out Shun-Yi is her sister, who is also pregnant.
Who cares if she's feeling sick? What about my knee?
Mitch and Caroline find themselves in a moral quandary. If they take Shun-Yi to a hospital, she'll be deported and not be allowed to have her baby. Take her to a hospital, or just let her stumble, feverish and covered in blisters, back to Chinatown where she can be sick and pregnant and further injure herself. It's a real stumper. Professional life-saving individuals! They take her anyway and nothing comes of it. Meanwhile, pickpocket plot. Garner has a picture of the woman, and for some reason, Hobie is involved with this.
Oh man, what a babe.
Cowabungo, dude, or whatever.
Shut up.
Nudie con artist stakeout montage. Oh. Okay, that lady was actually topless. Did she not violate the same ordinance the other lady did?
This is sexy, right?
Sure enough, they spot con artist lady back at it again. So why did she bother with the wig if she was just gonna do the same con? Did she not think they'd make the connection?
Mr. Lifeguard, do you realize that young lady over there is showering all natural?
It's me, Buzzkill McVest. I just go to the beach to judge people and gossip.
Young man, did you hear what I said?
How old is she supposed to be, 80? Eyebrows goes after the con partner who's taking the wallets. Whoa, this episode is all sorts of action-packed. Ho ho ho, a tiny plastic table cannot stop me. Be honest, is this chase scene stupid? And they're racing onto the highway now? Okay guys, there's not that much at stake. I absolutely love the juxtaposition of stupid topless con artist and her Freddie Mercury partner and Chinese refugee fighting for the life of her child. Beautiful. You know, Tanya Harding could have used a guy like you. And we still have time for a topless chase scene.
Now that's what I call a bust.
Haha, in real life, I'm 15.
I went back to the hospital this morning, and the doctors say that Sun Yi's responding well to the medication.
Sun Yi.
Sun Yi.
Sun Yi.
Sun Yi.
I'm glad Sunfish is doing okay.
Shippy tells Caroline and Mitch a boat is coming in, and they think Shun Yi's husband could be on board. But how will the audience know for sure? Yep. I can't understand. Your subtitles are in German. Who told Mitch von Malibu about us? Who? That's when the kung fu battle starts. Shoulda seen it coming. Sure, the refugees are suffering from hunger, dehydration, and possible dysentery, but they are Asian. The Superfly 2 is not so Superfly. Sure, Mitch has got an injured knee that I suspect was a real-life injury they wrote in, but he's not gonna let anyone else get credit for this one. While the Coast Guard shows up for the boring part, he has to rescue Shun Yi's husband, who has fallen overboard.
Keep her steady, Barnett.
I'm sorry, what? I can't swim with my crappy knee, but check out this sweet lifesaver rocket launcher from Mattel! Okay, I just looked this up, and in 2010, an Australian student actually made this happen. Life is amazing sometimes.
Okay, Ducky. Let's pick him up. Oh.
Embarrassing. Let's check in on Chinatown real quick. Yup, still Chinese.
This is just one of the places that I work. But the best place to celebrate.
What do we celebrate?
I really don't know. I wasn't part of this story at all. Why am I even here? Shun Yi and her husband will be able to stay and have their child, and also bring their daughter there. Everything's easy when it comes to immigration. That wraps up everything in a nice little bow.
Let's eat, Dad.
You know I hate Chinese food.
Don't expect a big tip.
Next time on Baywatch.
Did you know Baywatch had a movie this summer? You wouldn't let me forget, so let's take a break and watch it. #reboot. Well, the day has come. We're going to be talking about the Baywatch reboot movie. Is it in order like all of the previous reviews have been? No. But will you care in 2037 when I'd actually get to it? Nope! This movie has been in development hell for years. Not that I've kept a close watch on it, but if there's some Baywatch news, people are going to send it my way. And this was around 2013 when that started happening, and so that's been my past 4 years of Twitter notifications. And when this was first sent to me, it was a project starring Bill Hader, something which obviously changed after somebody realized, wait a second, this is a remake of a beloved property that doesn't star The Rock? A grave error has been made! Obviously, Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron are the biggest stars involved here. I'm sure you're aware of who they are. I'm not going to go too deep into the rest of the cast, but there's some familiar faces and some not so familiar. This was directed by Seth Gordon, executive producer for The Goldbergs. He also did a documentary about world record arcade game scores called The King of Kong: A Fistful of Quarters, which I found really enjoyable and would recommend. And, this is written by the co-writers of Freddy vs. Jason? And produced by Eli Roth? It's worth noting that outside of the two script writers, there's 4 people credited for the story. One of those people is Reno 911 co-creator Robert Ben Garant, who was originally slated to direct. So it looks like we're going to be watching a Frankenstein movie pieced together from many different things, folks. If you're wondering if it's noticeable that 6 different people developed this, yes it is. So let's dive right in, and yes, this is 2 hours long. Am I gonna watch the extended cut? Nope! Time for that Baywatch summer fun. Oh, well, this is violent. Oh yeah, this movie is a hard R, like Baywatch was always intended to be. If a 21 Jump Street R-rated revival was unexpectedly successful. So forewarning, there's gonna be some willies in this.
Hello, man, Mitch. Why are you here?
I'm always here.
'Cause nights will never be the same.
I hope you're ready for some wrong-sounding voices, because I ain't got that big of a range, folks. So this is our new Mitch Buchannon, played by Dwayne Johnson, a larger-than-life lifeguard lieutenant who is basically a superhero everyone loves. Stop me if this sounds familiar.
Are you Batman? You saved my sister's life. Saved my nan's life. I heard he invented Google and gave it all to charity. And I heard he invented the cure for the common cold.
He ain't Superman, he's a damn county lifeguard.
The two main characters of this movie are Mitch and Matt Brody, aka Eyebrows, but I'm just gonna call him Matt because he doesn't have that sweet eyebrow action. He rides a motorcycle, and that's about all he has in common with his TV counterpart. He's mostly an amalgamation of different traits of the generic pretty boys they'd put on Baywatch proper. You can also see shades of Ryan Lochte in this, because it was topical for a brief 15 seconds.
Are you dyslexic?
I'm Caucasian.
Anywho, Matt is a gold medal Olympic swimmer who's been forced to do community service as a lifeguard after some drunken swimming binges. I don't know about you, but the person I want most to have my life in their hands is someone who is legally obligated to do it because of drunken misconduct.
Hey, I'm Matt Brody.
Not a single fuck was given.
Classic Baywatch. Is there a reason all of the lifeguards are assholes before he's done anything? No. Do we side with them? No, because they're assholes.
Yeah, 'cause I don't give a shit. A lot of oceans in Iowa?
No, just ponds and lakes and cocky pretty boys, apparently. Hey, Mitch, what happened to that last pretty boy recruit we had?
He died.
R.I.P.
Someone died. It is kinda like my Baywatching dialogue, but, you know, for real.
Yes, absolutely, and we still don't give a fuck.
Ah, so likable. There are many Baywatch characters here from the show, but hey, how about we meet a movie exclusive? This is Ronnie. Ronnie is a big fat wiener. I don't dislike the guy, but honestly, Hannibal Buress is so much funnier as his friend Dave. I kinda wish he'd been cast in the Ronnie role.
And you handled it really smoothly.
Really?
Fuck no, that was awkward. It was horrible.
Fuck.
Ronnie is the schlubby guy who has a crush on the lifeguard that's out of his league. You know where all of this is going. Said lifeguard is CJ Parker, and I can sum up her role in this movie as such.
I'm easy like Sunday morning.
Wow, remember when this was literally the only Baywatch joke in the 90s? I'm glad to see this on the big screen in 2017. And this is about all you're gonna get out of this character. Pamela Anderson's CJ Parker was a hippy-dippy, new-agey, big into the environment kind of person. You know, she wanted to stop oil drilling and save the whales and all that. Had the tendency to fall for the wrong guys too hard, too fast. Here, CJ is girl. She has boobs and a butt. Don't believe me? Here's her butt. Mitch and CJ were the faces of Baywatch, and you'd never know from this that her character had any significance. Ronnie has a more fulfilling role than she does. That girl there was Summer, by the way, as you could tell by the nothing about her. She sure is a lifeguard. Her personality is girl. She has boobs and a butt. That was Stephanie. She's a lifeguard lieutenant. Her personality is girl. She has boobs and a butt. You see what I'm getting at? You know, the Baywatch show might be mostly about babes in swimsuits, but the characters did have, like, identities. I hesitate to call them strong female characters, but they did drive the show and have motivations and move plots forward. Not so in Baywatch 2017. They do get to do a little toward the end, but otherwise you'll be hard-pressed to find a woman outside of the villain who has anything to do with anything that isn't following a man's lead. And even then, that's because her character was originally written for a man. The Baywatch movie seemed to have thought that slow-motion boobs couldn't drive the whole thing, so they asked, well, what if we reversed that and just made it about wing-wang doodles?
Huge dick.
Big dick.
Hey, how's your dick?
And my balls say we need to go over there and check it out.
My balls say, it's just take it easy right here.
Hey, speaking of dingle-dongs, did you want an extended sequence of Ron Zones getting his erection stuck in the slats of a chair?
Don't you touch my dick, I'm okay!
You just wasted 2 minutes of my life. Mitch goes to Captain Thorpe to tell him he thinks Matt being on their team is a bad idea, but Thorpe insists this is a good PR opportunity for them. Why do county lifeguards need PR? Hot dog rookies aren't Mitch's only concern, though. He's worried about the rise of a new street drug called Flocka. This will serve as our main plot, so keep an eye on that. Meanwhile...
Why does she always look like she's running in slow-mo?
Even funnier the second time! Anywho, Mitch agrees to let Matt join the team as long as he passes tryouts. A bargain which I don't think he's qualified to make with his literal boss, but whatever. After a few jabs back and forth, Matt agrees to compete against Mitch in the course. Tired of this dick measuring competition yet? No! Anyway, a real life or death situation takes place during the tryouts, and Matt drives through a crowd of people on his motorcycle to get to them. It's only too responsible. By the way, my shirt magically appeared. I guess I'm the original Matt voice because the French one doesn't make sense.
No hot dog tactics on my beach.
They manage to rescue the drowning people, and Matt learns a harsh lesson about the realities of lifeguarding. Also, Ronald and Summer make it on the team. Next.
Hey, High School Musical.
I think you mean Mike and Dave need wedding dates? Matt is going through a rough time. He went from a hero to a laughingstock, and now he's homeless and living under lifeguard towers like a real Eddie. Look at the mean things people are saying. Why does this D-bag have so many abs? Whoa! Oh no, now he's gotta stay with Mitch. What a hilariously mismatched duo. Mitch with his cocky attitude and muscles, and Matt with his cocky attitude and muscles. This is just too much. Okay, honestly, a tiny Mitch in his fish tank? That's pretty much exactly something Hasselhoff Mitch would do. And it keeps changing inexplicably through the movie. That's hilarious. It's probably the funniest joke in the film. And hey, this time around, he doesn't even have to say Hobie's with his mother because he doesn't exist. No son of a Mitch for this son of a Mitch. During a short training montage, Mitch drops Chekhov's sea urchin on us.
That is the devil's urchin. One prick out of that thing will give you enough adrenaline to choke out a pissed off bull. The only problem is, after that, you say some crazy ass shit and then you fucking die.
It'll be perfect for the action scene later.
What's this? A romance between Robbie and CJ? Pass. Well, hey, how about a romance between Matt and Summer?
Do you just, look at my boobs?
Pass. This brings me to the film's villain, Victoria Leeds, who has actually had a couple scenes prior to this during which nothing interesting happens. And that's sort of a problem because she drives the plot of the movie. She runs a resort on the beach called the Huntley, which she uses as a front to sell flocka and make big bucks. She wears fancy clothes and talks about how she's worked her way to the top as a woman, which sounds more riveting than how it's played. Here's a sample.
Calling me a drug dealer, it's so much bigger than that, you know? Leon, teach him some manners.
After a councilman refuses to help her with a real estate deal that has to do with wanting to make the beach private that is also not that exciting, she has him killed. Oh yeah, this movie has a body count. Specifically 5, thanks IMDb trivia. Which, again, is pretty true to the show. I love being creepy.
You gonna be cool and go talk to her like a real man? You're gonna stand up here and be creepy creeperton.
Hey, I don't want to be overstating my importance here, but did the screenwriters watch Baywatching before they wrote this? Did they? Hey guys, if you're viewing this, send me a shout out. Not to be a creepy creeperton or anything.
Mitch, we gotta rest.
Up, no significance for you.
While the girls wait around as backup, Mitch and Matt drive out to rescue a boat on fire. That's right, it cost $69 million to look this bad.
69? Nice. Pretty necessary CGI, right?
I gotta tell you guys, it's bizarre seeing something Baywatch related with this much money behind it. Women tossing! Unfortunately for Mitch, one of the passengers is the already dead councilman. But when he spots some flocka, he begins to suspect not all is what it seems. Time for P.I. Mitch Buchannon to get on the case. He immediately starts the investigation, which doesn't please Garner too much.
Come on, Ellaby, don't give me any of that jurisdiction shit.
No, I won't. Because technically, you don't have a jurisdiction. Lifeguard, you got one job. Make sure swim-happy white people don't drown.
Their entire relationship is based on Garner getting annoyed that lifeguards keep doing things lifeguards don't do. It's pretty great. Thanks, Robert. Honestly, I have a lot of problems with this movie, but they do have some pretty funny references to Baywatch itself. For instance, take this scene where they just list off a bunch of real Baywatch plots verbatim.
School of Manta Ray in the Cove?
You call animal control?
How about sand grifters running a con on the beach, right?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what a sand grifter is, Stephanie, but I would probably call the cops.
How about diamond smugglers who are putting the rocks in surfboards and bringing them ashore?
Oh my god, when I saw this on the big screen, I was living. But this can't all be laughs aplenty. The audience is betrayed when they find out Dave was working for Leeds. Dun dun dun! No, Dave! Not our good buddy Dave! Oh my god, Dave! Dave! Because the drugs were found near the Huntley, the Baywatch crew shows up at a party there to snoop around.
I sense trouble.
But droning monotonous whispers are actually really good for emotionally manipulating someone. Leeds figures something is fishy and stirs up Matt's mixed feelings about his situation to get him to drink.
I grew up in a foster home.
Making me a sex symbol! Time for a distraction, featuring the party scene from every 2010s comedy movie you've ever seen. No. This gives Mitch and Stephanie time to look around in the back.
Looks like I'm finally becoming a character, Mitch.
Whatever, Stephanie. Pretend to make out with me.
Wow, does this mean we're romantic interests?
Nope.
That makes me feel neither here nor there.
Guess I was killed off screen. That sucks. Being a lifeguard means being part of a team, Matt. It means being our lookout when we try to investigate a drug lord / beach club owner. There's no Matt in team, but there is a Mitch.
I'm just standing here because I'm a loose extension of Matt's character, but I have nothing to add.
Looks like I've learned a valuable lesson.
You talking about this metal? That's polluting.
Now that the emotional part has been taken care of, the investigation continues as they sneak into a morgue to look at the councilman's body. Here they discover his cause of death doesn't line up and he was actually murdered. And this is where we get into the really hard R of the movie, because we're going to be spending an extended amount of time with a dead dude's dong.
I need you to check his taint for needle marks.
You want me to check his taint?
And get closer.
Oh, God, it stinks.
Posting that.
Do not post that. The internet is forever.
Just a handful of ball sack.
I hate it. I hate it, Baywatch 2017. I hate this scene, and I hate that you put it in. If I can get critical for a moment during the big Ganachos scene, this is probably what I dislike most about this movie. While I can get blue on Baywatching, what I find funniest about the show is the seemingly contradictory juxtaposition of TV cheesecake and family-friendly values. It's really at war with itself as to who it wants to appeal to, so they have plots about Hobie befriending a misunderstood giant, but also fan-servicey montages featuring lots and lots of bazookas. I'm a firm believer that simply adding more cursing and nudity can't be the extent of the joke. And unfortunately, that's what a good chunk of this movie relies on. I actually found the edited version of the trailer funnier than the actual jokes in the movie. And while I appreciate that they didn't simply show women's breasts because they could, just switching them out for wangs doesn't make it any funnier.
Lifeguard.
I'm a doctor!
And he's a lifeguard.
Skipping over that scene to something that's actually funny, the two goons that showed up to cover their tracks are chased down by Mitch and company, and that leads to a showdown in a child's bedroom.
Wait, hey. No baby pictures. Have some class.
You're right.
That's good stuff.
That's because we were in lifeguard pursuits.
Oh, okay. My bad. Except for there's no fucking such thing as lifeguard pursuit.
Why is Garner consistently the best character in Baywatch? The biggest tragedy was not getting a cameo from Gregory Allen Williams. Anyway, here's something to make this movie an unnecessary 2 hours long. Just repeat everything twice.
Police do investigations.
When you do
it's just a bunch of guys investigating another bunch of guys.
No offense.
No offense, you're included in that.
How do I explain
try to
this so
explain
that
this to you in a way that you people can understand.
You people?
Why did we just do that scene twice? Whatever, let's do another undercover scene.
Undercover.
Yeah, a little too undercover. How the fuck do we wear makeup, dude?
Put that in slow motion and we got ourselves the most original joke of the year! Drugs, investigate, let's move this plot along, people! Due to negligently leaving a tower unattended, and not because, of all the illegal stuff he's been doing, Mitch is told to turn in his swim trunks.
Turn in your trunks, Mitch.
Mitch is fired, Matt is on the outs because Thorpe forced him to take Mitch's old job, everyone is at their lowest. But you know what? When some people stand in the darkness, afraid to step into the light, don't you worry, everything's gonna be alright. Because David Hasselhoff is cameoing! Oh yeah! Hey, I just want to point out that this was one of 2 big-budget theatrical movie cameos for Hasselhoff this summer. So welcome back, Hoff! And unlike most remake movie cameos, the Hoff is here to actually move the plot forward. He plays Mitch's mentor, and he's the one who convinces him to stop feeling sorry for himself, get back on the sand, and save the beach.
Mitch?
Yes, Mitch.
Wait. Okay, It's a remake where Mitch Buchanan is mentored by David Hasselhoff, who is also Mitch Buchanan. So I guess this is a world where the show and the movie exist, and everyone has the same name. So is this like a Star Trek reboot situation? Has Mitch altered the timeline? Are we in a Groundhog Day loop wherein the events of Baywatch are cursed to repeat themselves? Did he hop dimensions? Are there many different versions of Baywatch and Mitch can slide between them? Is he in sliders? Is this the Upside Down? What's happening? The sand grifters joke from earlier was important, by the way, as Matt spots one of them in an actual plot from the show that includes a cooler with a trick bottom. This gives him an idea. Using the cooler himself, he's able to sneakily steal the case files off of Garner's desk. After discovering Dave was also killed under mysterious circumstances, the movie suddenly remembers Ronald McDonald is A, part of this film, and B, a tech guy, I guess. So he hacks into Leeds' something and uncovers some dirt.
Dirt? What the hell are we supposed to do with dirt, Ronnie?
And then evidence.
Alright, I guess I'm only stupid when the audience forgets that's supposed to be part of my character. I'm Ronnie! Anyway, in order to find a councilman Leeds wants to kill, the gang must go to a party. Rule of twos, this movie. And hey, CJ and Stephanie can be involved again because it requires walking in slow motion in party dresses.
We love being characters.
What the fuck is going on?
Come save us, Matt and Mitch. How about a real man?
Oh no, now I'm a hostage. This movie is no homo, just like Baywatch. Look guys, I know Baywatch was the 90s, but even they didn't use mouth-to-mouth resuscitation for gay jokes. Thank God it wasn't really Summer though, otherwise she would have been responsible for 2 things that weren't directly on Mitch's orders, and we wouldn't want that. Can Ropey figure out whatever tech mumbo-jumbo they need in time? Better use CJ as a motivator for our real hero, Dumpy Comic Relief. Oh no, not Mitch! Our main character can't die! Looks like he's done for.
He's dead.
Because of you.
Of course, because of me.
But wait, remember that improbable adrenaline-surging deadly sea urchin that could pump him up into a super Mitch? Come on the TV show rating, this falls on about a 5 out of 10 on the outlandish scale.
I don't know, that seems a little complicated.
Let's blow up the villain with some fireworks!
I'm oceanic, motherfucker.
How tacky.
You guys didn't seriously try to make the oceanic thing a hashtag for this movie's promos, did you? Time to make it easy! Mitch gets medical attention, Garner apologizes to them, Thorpe was corrupt the whole time because who really cared about Captain Thorpe, our couples couple up, and the movie's got a wrap. But now that Captain Thorpe is gone, who's gonna replace him?
I want to introduce you to our new captain, the amazing Captain Casey Jean.
Whoa! I'm glad that wasn't spoiled in the opening credits where she got billing over David Hasselhoff despite not having any lines or doing anything funny, and obviously having shot this last minute over the course of an hour is an obligation, or else this might seem kind of disappointing.
This'll look great in the trailer.
But can Matt drop a can like Court? I don't think so. Baywatch 2017 was a theatrical flop, so I wouldn't really be expecting a sequel anytime soon. And for me personally, I don't know, I'm mixed. This is about 3 or 4 movies all in one, and some of them I liked, other ones I couldn't stand. When the movie actually spoofed the material outside of the gimme slow motion jokes, I did get some laughs. I just wish they hadn't gone for the R rating, because I think that tends to make comedies nowadays lazy, and this was highly improvised and relied heavily on cursing and gross-out humor. And while I can get behind them spotlighting some unknowns, it'd be nice if the women, had stuff to do. The problem really with a Baywatch comedy movie is that Baywatch the show is already funny. You have to go more over the top than the TV series did, and I don't feel like they really got there. They have some funny leads, but the material is a mixed bag. Did I hate it? No, but I can't say I loved it. David Hasselhoff's cameo was hilarious though, even if slightly confusing. If you're curious, I'd maybe check it out on Netflix. But for me, I'm happy with sticking to the reunion movie, clearly the superior film. Nice try, Hollywood. Baywatch beats you again.
Fuck!
Next time on Baywatch, it's the 100th episode of Baywatching! Happy 100, y'all! Hello everyone, and welcome to the Baywatching 100th episode special. Yes, after 4 years, we have at last reached this momentous occasion, and oh, the things we've been through together. It was difficult for me to decide what exactly to do for this unique video, so I took to Twitter and Patreon to ask you folks what you wanted. And overwhelmingly, you asked for more trivia, and hey, that I can definitely and gladly provide. Looking up behind-the-scenes info on Baywatch has racked up so many extra odds and ends over the years that I couldn't possibly have fitted all into the show, so yeah, I can tell you some stories. One thing I want to point out before we get started, and a general rule of mine for Baywatching, is this. Unless it's relevant to the show or just kinda interesting or funny, I don't like to go too deep into the actors' personal lives. There can be quite a bit of nastiness sometimes, and I don't really feel like turning into a tabloid or exploiting misfortune. And while there's definitely some personal things in this video, I've only tried to include stuff that fits into my previously mentioned criteria. Hopefully I haven't crossed too many lines, but that's what I try to stick by anyway. Given that when I started this venture, I didn't know nearly as much as I do now, here I'll be covering various bits of trivia from the first 5 seasons that I either missed or didn't know how to quite fit in. Everything after that we'll get to as we come to it. So let's take a time-traveling ride back to the 70s and cover the road so far. While in his 20s, Gregory Buchannon was a young lifeguard with big ideas. After a long time of considering the possibilities of a lifeguard-themed TV show, he said quite poetically, "You know, if that piece of shit Chip show can be so popular, why can't we make a television show about lifeguards?" Some divine power seemed to agree, because after rescuing some children from a riptide, it turned out one of them was the son of TV executive Stu Irwin Jr., who worked for MTM Enterprises, a company owned by the future chairman and CEO of NBC. Wanting to repay the favor, Irwin helped him to develop this idea for 10 years. When Buchannon's sister married TV writer Douglas Schwartz, Schwartz ended up helping him produce the show. Before we got to the series we all know and love, however, Buchannon had quite a few ideas swirling around in his head, because really his only requirement was lifeguard. So we thought of a mini-series, a sitcom, and even a cartoon, which, I don't know, I want to step into that alternate dimension and see what that was like. But before they could do anything, they had to pitch it to NBC, and in order to sell it, they needed a proof of concept. So Buchannon got his buddy and fellow lifeguard Michael Newman to star in a short video they shot on Memorial Day weekend all about a lifeguard's day. Essentially, it was just one of the montages you see in the show every week. In fact, it was edited into a montage or two in the pilot, and they reused the footage a lot. Newmy picking up this baby? That's from their pitch video. NBC liked what they saw, and the show premiered in 1989. Baywatch mainly filmed in Malibu, Venice Beach, Santa Monica Beach, and Temescal. There was a different beach in the first season, and apparently it was absolutely filthy, like covered in rocks and old needles and stuff. I mean, they had medics nearby because of this. It blows my mind they filmed there for an entire season. This wasn't the only danger the actors were put in, by the way, because they were filming the pilot in January, making the waters dangerously freezing, so much so that they had to finish filming in Hawaii, where they were shooting in shark-infested waters. At one point during the show, they were filming in nasty styrofoam-covered water, and there was a sewage spill John Allen Nelson had to outswim. And oh yeah, Alexandra Paul and Nicole Eggert once found a body with a gunshot wound. So that's terrifying! During production, they used 40 bottles of sunscreen per month, because while used needles were acceptable, skin cancer was not. Meanwhile, in Iceland, Baywatch was the only show ever to receive an influx of complaints about subtitles because they didn't like the text covering up the good stuff. Which brings me to the cast. Fun fact, Erica Eleniak's first film role was as the little girl Elliot kissed in E.T. Rewatch it, it's weird now that you know. The character of Jill was originally cast as Pamela Bowen, who in fact had started filming with them, but when she got to her first swimming scene, they discovered she had a debilitating fear of water. I guess she didn't think it'd come up in this lifeguard show. And before David Hasselhoff had the role, other actors considered to play Mitch Buchanan included Lorenzo Lamas and Adrian Paul. Other famous actors who auditioned for Baywatch included Dean Cain, who tried out for Matt Brody, Alicia Silverstone, Denise Richards, Paula Abdul, Sandra Bullock, Tia Carrere, who turned down the part after getting her role in Wayne's World, and Neve Campbell. In Neve Campbell's case, I've read 2 different reasons for her rejection, and both seem equally plausible. 1, she was too pale, and 2, her boobs were too small. It's hard to talk about Baywatch and not get into their treatment of women, and this is something that probably needs an entire video dedicated to it to really get into the nitty-gritty, but my short take on it is this. There was only one time I ever felt the show was offensively sexist. The rest of the time, it was a lot of dumb stories about pretty people on the beach. That isn't to say the show's image didn't affect the real world, but that's a whole other can of worms. While the stories were silly but generally not offensive, behind the scenes is a whole other deal. That includes a lot of stuff from producers and the casting department and such, and how vocal they were with the actresses about their image.
She gave a really good reading.
But she was not physically what we were looking for. I was probably really bitchy about it,
Vern
but
told
I'm sure
her.
I've told her. As Susie says, I've caused a lot of eating disorders
Yes.
in this town.
Baywatch had a clause in their contracts about how much weight the actors were allowed to gain during the show, and that included the men, but was definitely skewed more toward the women. And while I think that's probably a part of contracts in some other shows too, it seems like they were kind of bullies about it sometimes, especially with Yasmine Bleeth, who struggled with maintaining her weight.
Yasmine had gained some weight from the time we hired her. As the seasons went up, we even had a little poster on the craft service table. If you see this woman next to this table, please make sure you shun her away.
When Baywatch moved to syndication after the first season, the budget was slashed. So a lot of the sets were actually rooms they used off-screen, such as the lifeguard station kitchen and weight room. This also meant paying the actors the bare minimum they were required to, something which Michael Newman elaborated a bit on. He claimed he made more money renovating a house next door to him than he made in his entire run on Baywatch. Which is a shame, because Numi was their technical advisor and did a lot of dangerous stunts. He was a trained lifeguard and firefighter, so they would consult him on everything from rescue procedures, to what they said on the radio, to how to properly run with a rescue can. Not to mention the most vital part of the show, Hasselhoff's leg stand-in. I'm not kidding, they had him stand in because of Hasselhoff's chicken legs. And for all of this, he was paid $350 a day, comparing that to the height of Pamela Anderson's popularity, where she was making $60,000 to $80,000 an episode. But when she started, she was making what the other actresses were making, which was about $1,000. I've seen these numbers fluctuate depending on who's telling the story, and add to that the fact it's been 20 plus years, I'm just gonna say these are rough estimates. Numi's great, by the way. He seems super candid during interviews, and he always says some really interesting stuff. After Baywatch, he became one of Hollywood's leading water star trainers, which includes celebrities like Ashton Kutcher, Kevin Costner, and Tom Hanks. Despite being diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2011, he stayed active and kept such an amazing positive attitude. He's done charity work with Cedars-Sinai Regenerative Medicine Institute and continues to help people just like he did back then. He saved so many lives in his various jobs, so I consider him a hero. Speaking of which, he's not the only amazing human being on Baywatch. Gregory Allen Williams has such an incredible personal story. He's just a fascinating person. Before he was an actor, he was in the Marine Corps. He's also an author, and part of his life is chronicled in his book, A Gathering of Heroes, Reflections on Rage and Responsibility, a memoir of the Los Angeles riots. In April 1992, during the LA riots, he came across a crowd throwing bricks at Takao Harada in the middle of an intersection. Remembering back to his childhood when he was attacked for the color of his skin, he stepped into the crowd to rescue Harada. and by appealing to them to do the right thing, he managed to get the man out of there and ensure he was taken to the hospital. They were throwing bricks and beer bottles, and he still stepped in and saved that man's life. What a wonderful person. I hope we can all be as good someday. Another member of the Baywatch cast I have real respect for is Alexandra Paul, who seems like one of the most genuine and kind people. In fact, she's so likable, the producers specifically wrote the role of Stephanie in for her because she didn't fit any of the roles they were currently casting. She tried out for CJ and Summer. It also helped that she was super tall and would look good next to David Hasselhoff. In addition to being very nice, she's also an incredible athlete and really is a trained lifeguard. But don't confuse her niceness for being a pushover, because she's very outspoken and big into activism. She's been arrested at least 16 times during various protests covering everything from environmental issues, to peace, to gay rights, to animal rights. Other cast members big into activism are Yasmine Bleeth, who's helped raise money for breast cancer research as a spokesperson for Lee National Denim Day and other charities, an issue close to her since losing her mother to breast cancer when she was 20. David Charvet joined the Blue Seals in 2010, a nonprofit group focused on rapid response ocean preservation, and Pamela Anderson has been a big advocate for animal rights for years, focusing mainly on anti-fur campaigns. Speaking of animals, despite my many jokes about Mitch hating dogs, David Hasselhoff is a huge dog person. In fact, he has 5. I think he used to be big into dog rescues as well when he was married to Pamela Bach, but it could be he just takes a lot of pictures with dogs. Another fun fact, on May 18, 2017, David Hasselhoff was elected the first official mayor of Funner, California. So yes indeed, he is Mayor Hasselhoff. May his reign last forever. When he was asked to read for the part of Mitch, he played hard to get. He said he didn't want to wear a swimsuit to work, walked out, and then promptly told his manager to get him the job. Since then, he became very hands-on, resurrecting the show from cancellation using his own money and eventually becoming a producer. So yeah, he was pretty vocal about stuff behind the scenes. He was determined Baywatch would be a family show, so all of the Playboy stuff didn't sit so well with him. After Erica Eleniak did her Playboy shoot, NBC wanted her fired. But obviously, once Baywatch went to syndication, the show saw this as a great cross-promotion opportunity. Other cast members to do Playboy were Pamela Anderson, who has appeared on more Playboy covers than any other model, Gina Lee Nolan, Donna D'Errico, Tracy Bingham, Carmen Electra, Angelica Bridges, Marlise Andrada, Brandy Roderick, and Alicia Richter. And probably some more I don't even know about. If you don't recognize the names yet, you can probably predict the noticeable shift in later seasons. Hasselhoff was not into this at all. In fact, he didn't want Pamela Anderson to be involved with the series. He thought her image was bad for the show, describing it as icky and too rock and roll. He said her casting would alienate fans. Michael Burke and Douglas Schwartz had a different theory that he just didn't like the focus being taken away from him, but regardless, her casting did bring the show a lot of attention and help shape the image they would eventually become known for. In 1995, Pamela Anderson would unintentionally give the show another boost. In February of that year, near the end of season 5, Pamela married rock star Tommy Lee after knowing him for 4 days. I don't want to get too deep into this, but it was rocky to say the least. Reportedly, he was very possessive and would start breaking things on set when she had to kiss other guys on the show, causing such a scene that security would make him leave. This was detailed in Hasselhoff's autobiography, Don't Hassle the Hoff. Well, in the same year, Anderson and Lee filmed a sex tape for their private collection. What followed was a very complicated plot involving a disgruntled employee and some genuine craziness. The newly married couple lived in a mansion and fired people quite often, and when one such person came to collect his tools and payment, Tommy Lee pointed a gun at him and demanded he left. So in order to get revenge, he staked the place out for months and planned a heist. Knowing the layout of the house and where the security cameras were, he disguised himself as their dog by throwing a yak fur rug over himself and a U-Haul dolly. Along with some valuable items, he unexpectedly found himself in possession of the sex tape, which he planned to sell for big bucks. Because, coincidentally, this electrician also did some porn work on the side. So let me just state right here and now that what this guy did was really scummy, regardless of what happened to him previously. So I'm glad to say he didn't get rich off of this scheme. In fact, no one wanted to distribute it because they didn't have written permission from Pamela Anderson or Tommy Lee. and that included a member of the mob he went to. I don't know anything about this mob porn distribution business, but I guess anything goes. Eventually, the tape got sold via the black market internet, where people could pay for it by mail, and it got put on one of the few websites that could stream at the time. And since everyone had seen it by this point anyway, Anderson and Lee decided to sign it over to the streaming site. Ratings on Baywatch doubled after that, and that brings us to Season 6 and where we are now. There are many, many awesome things coming up, including the premiere of Baywatch Nights, so hold on to your butts, people. But for now, I found it nice to reflect back on these past 100 episodes. I highly recommend you check out the True Hollywood Story special on Baywatch if you can find it, because it contains a lot of this trivia and more with behind-the-scenes interviews and footage. I've certainly used quite a few of the clips by now, but the whole thing is endlessly engaging, and it goes straight until the end of the series, so there's plenty of info you didn't see here. As for what I covered today, the good and bad of it, I'm so grateful for Baywatch. They've provided me hours of entertainment and brought me together with such a wonderful group of fans. I want to thank them and thank you guys, because without you, I'd just be a silly girl who likes to watch a lot of TV. Thank you for sticking with me through 100 episodes, and I hope you stick around through the next 100. And believe me, Baywatch has 286 episodes, so we've at least got that much left. Thank you for your wonderful and sometimes hilarious comments, your support, and keeping Baywatch alive. Forever and always, you're always here. Next time on Baywatch, it's Baywatch's 100th episode! Again! Maybe! Can little Richard help Mitch save some street urchins with the help of Virgin Cola? We'll see! I'm getting all tingly with excitement, guys. I've been looking forward to this episode since Baywatching's genesis. Until now, we have not truly reached peak levels of Baywatch, but today I tell you, the Runaways is gonna kick down your door and fill your life with so much beachy goodness, you're not gonna know what to do with yourself. There are so many things to talk about here. Let me just start with this. You wanna know what my favorite episode of Baywatch is? Boom! The Runaways. It also happens to be my first episode of Baywatch, and nothing I saw since surpassed it. Sure, I remember when the show was on the air and probably catching bits and pieces, but it wasn't until shortly before I started this series that I'd actually watched the show properly. And I just figured it'd be a boring beach show. The only reason I watched this one is because I was on my She-Wolf of London kick and Neil Dixon is in this. But I had no idea what I was in for. This episode is so damn good, it's what got me to watch Baywatch in its entirety and thus inspired me to start Baywatching. You can thank the Runaways for everything. Man, I love this episode. Delicious. Also worthy of note, I think this is Baywatch's actual 100th episode filmed. And believe me, I did not expect to have like 3 100th episodes almost in a row. Baywatch is just confusing. But as I said before, the airing order is all sorts of whacked. I can only guess from the big guest stars and the 100th episode celebration pics that this is probably the big one.
Oh no, I'm suddenly wearing a completely different outfit with long sleeves, and I'm a different woman. Hopefully you didn't notice I was just reused footage from season 1.
Whoa guys, the 100th episode spared no expense. Sacre bleu, I will rescue you! But this woman's gonna need a real hero, and that's this Virgin Cola blimp.
Well, how do you like that? Saved by the blimp.
Oh, I'm quitting this show. I don't know why, guys, but suddenly I have an insatiable thirst for a soft drink that's inexplicably still available in such countries as Afghanistan, Nigeria, and the Philippines. I don't know if you guys can tell, but Virgin Cola had some hand in the sponsorship of this episode. And just as a quick side note, in 1996, Virgin Cola marketed their 500 milliliter bottles as the Pammy because they resembled Pamela Anderson's curves. Don't worry about the stock photo watermark, it covers up the creepy text. Meanwhile, Caroline's mad about something. Surprise, surprise.
How dare you put me on switchboard, Stephanie? You're just doing this to me because we're sisters!
I mean, Caroline's always bitchy, but to be fair, Stephanie's got the condescending giggles this episode.
You'll be on switchboard forever. Welcome to Sidsville, Caroline.
Stephanie thinks Caroline still makes rookie mistakes and needs a bit more time at other posts to really perfect the Baywatch brand. Which, fair enough. But I'm distracted by the fact through the whole scene she's smiling like the Joker after she's just trapped Batman. Meanwhile, check out this cute little kerfuffle. Mitch compliments Kay on the greatest tuna melt he's ever had, which is saying something because Mitch has surely sampled a vast cornucopia of tuna melts. Kay gives all the credit to her new cook, Maurice.
Way to go! Bop bop baloo mop a lot bamboo!
Take it all in. Bask in the glory, folks. Take the knowledge that Little Richard is in an episode of Baywatch playing someone who is not Little Richard but speaks almost exclusively in Little Richard lyrics and spread that sunshine to the world. This episode is fast and furious, folks, because before you even have the chance to absorb the fact that yes, you did just see Little Richard, suddenly there's a woman lip-syncing by the counter. This is Molly, played by singer Jane Collins, who I guess the show wanted to promote, I don't know. She doesn't have a huge discography, but apparently she founded a boy band called The Wanted in 2009. Do the kids like them? The song No Turning Back was written and produced for this episode, and don't you worry, you'll be hearing it again. Molly here talks like a cockney from the 1800s.
Let's go, come on, cop it up. How about you, Captain? Every little bit helps.
Oi, come and partake in Mrs. Lovett's meat pies.
Molly claims that she's making some money for a friend, but she could use some cash herself until she gets that big record deal. Being the gentleman he is, Mitch volunteers her to be Kay's new waitress.
You looking for someone to lend a hand?
Desperately. When can you start?
You like how I interfere with both your business and personal life, Kay? Gosh, I'm a good whatever I am to you.
I'll knock you up first thing in the morning.
Blimey, Gov. Bollocking tits arse. Talk to you in the morning after I've gone up the wooden hill to Bedfordshire.
Cowabunga!
Anyway, Virgin Cola blimp.
It's actually called an airship, pal.
Yeah, shut up. Oh, it's not just the blimp that's here, by the way, because Virgin's own Richard Branson is in this episode.
I'm Richard Branson.
Yes, indeed. And listen to this insanity. Apparently true to his real-life self, he has arrived at Baywatch Beach for a daredevil stunt. He's looking to get into the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest water ski behind an airship. So, you know, basically he's gonna promote Virgin Cola by skiing behind his giant product placement blimp. I'd say this was outlandish, but it isn't really for him.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. Safety is quite important to me, but believe me, Mitch, if we weren't absolutely certain we could pull this off, we wouldn't be here.
Terrific.
And then he calls up Gladys Knight on a video phone. No biggie.
What are you doing in California?
Why am I in this episode? I don't sing anything, and this is my only appearance. Well, bye.
Finally, Stephanie put me back on a tower like I deserve. Ring ring, Caroline. Just thought I'd look down my nose at you from over here.
You know, if you'd listen to some of the things I'm telling you, you might actually learn something.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, Caroline. That means I'll have to kill you. By the way, someone's drowning and you're missing it.
Back me up. No, you back me up.
Out of my way, amateur hour. Not this time, Stephanie. My save.
Need some help? No.
This is my specialty, tutti frutti. Bada bada booda, rooda rooda rooda. Ooh-wee. Bada bada booda, rooda rooda rooda. It's ready.
Must be nice in whatever world Little Richard's living in.
Good golly, Miss Molly, you shouldn't do that.
Is that seriously the only reason they named this character Molly? Molly is an ace waitress, truly the best Sandy Kay ever had, except for the fact she gives customers food away to little orphan Annie here. But she's made a huge mistake this time, because she's given away half of Mitch's sandwich.
Ho, 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 ho.
Give away my sandwich? You get between me and my food.
You will not be spared. Face the wrath of Poseidon himself.
Kay is a little more forgiving, cause hey, it's just your place of business, but whatever. Molly explains that the little girl is Kit, a runaway she befriended while she was working on the boardwalk. Kit is part of a whole pack of runaways that's apparently roaming the streets now because their shelter lost funding and closed down. Looks like there's a new smug in town. Anyway, apropos of nothing, the greatest music video of all time begins.
When the rain comes down, I'll be there. I'll be there through it all. Until the last teardrop falls.
As Little Richard would say, good golly, Miss Molly! I can't even properly tell you how much I love this. Just witness it in all its glory. Mitch asks to join Molly on a runaway scavenger hunt, commercial break, and then all of a sudden, Mitch has transformed into David Hasselhoff so they can sing to a bunch of Dickensian orphans, complete with newsboy caps and smudgy faces, as they dance around a bunch of burning barrels like they're in a Broadway musical. Feel the emotion! Please, won't you think of the children? Don't forget them until the last teardrop falls. So I guess our plot's still going, huh?
All lifeguards are in competition. I mean, the fastest swimmer, strongest runner, it just comes with the territory. I just don't want it to come between us. It won't. Hope you're right.
But no promises. Meanwhile, Molly is upset that her record deal fell through, and Neil Dixon was waiting strategically behind a menu for this very moment. Wait, is it because I've been stalking you? It turns out Creepy McStalker is actually Molly's fiancé Robert, who's followed her here from England. He thinks her dream of music stardom is preposterous!
Yes, well, that's just preposterous.
Typical unsupportive fiancé. Someone better set him straight.
Molly has a lot of talent, and you should be her biggest fan.
I gotta say, it's unreal seeing Neil Dixon holding product placement A&W cream soda and being berated by Little Richard. Meanwhile, Molly has snuck on board Mitch and Eyebrows' boat to hide out from her evil, unsupportive fiancé.
What the? What?
So, Richard, are you nervous? How do you...
Hahaha, he's allowed to do that because he's rich. Drink virgin cola! Say, wouldn't it be lucky if Richard Branson was in an accident and Molly just happened to be involved in that rescue so she could get a record deal, as it happens in real life?
It's okay, Mr. Branson. We'll get you out of this mess in a jiffy.
Sign this girl to my label immediately.
Hey, I was involved in the rescue too, and I'm a singer.
I didn't see you out in the water.
Damn you, Richard Branson!
Yes!
Well, that didn't work. He still got the record, though, just so we're clear.
You got the record!
Thank God! Lord knows I never accomplished anything else in my life. I don't even know what to say about this ensemble. And there's no burning barrels or runaways in this music video. Did not remind me of Oliver Twist. 0 out of 10. Now that you've improbably landed a hit record deal, I didn't have to learn to support your dreams even if you aren't successful. I love you. I love you too, darling. On second thought, let's take this slower. But there's still the matter of this zombie to take care of. Don't be so bummed, kid. Mitch and his sweater called your family up and everything's forgiven. Makes it easy!
We love you.
We weren't paid for lines, so just ADR me when my mouth is covered. I'm pregnant, Mom! You're no daughter of mine. I know what you're thinking. That's great for her, but what about all those other runaways, buddy? Well, it just so happens Mitch and Kay have set up a benefit concert for the Runaways shelter. Take it away, not Little Richard! How did we not know it was him? We're stupid. So wait, did they never make the connection that he looked exactly like Little Richard and spoke in Little Richard's song lyrics? Or, in canon, does little Richard just like to work as a cook at beach cafes sometimes? Who made this Baywatch branded piano? I don't think my questions will ever be answered. But rock on, sax man! Rock on! Also, I don't know anything about Kit's family, but not a single one of them can clap in time. And all the upstart singers join in. What a wonderful moment. This episode is a delight from start to finish. Happy 100th, Baywatch. Thanks a million. Next time on Baywatch, stuntman Johnny Danger comes to town. Meanwhile, sinister new lifeguard Neely Capshaw falsely accuses Eyebrows of sexual harassment. No bueno. Welcome back to Baywatching, awoken from our Christmas slumber, and it's our action-packed motorcycle stunt sexual harassment charge season finale. And hey, before we get too far in, I just want to let y'all know I discovered the zombie girl from the last episode is Will Wheaton's sister, so do what you will with that trivia. Man, you don't even gotta wade through all of that lead-in horse hockey. This episode just immediately rolls out with a stunt montage. This is Johnny Danger, who's just driven into town in all of his golden-maned glory. Johnny Danger is played by well-known stuntman Ellis Edwards, who notably did work for Thunder in Paradise, 5 years with WCW, and a run with WWE since 2002. He seems to have worked with Hulk Hogan a lot. He was the stunt rigger on Santa with Muscles, highlight of anyone's career. I also see Chick-fil-A in his stunt credits, whatever that means. Anywho, Johnny Danger is making a real impression on Hobie and the producer's sons, who are lapping up all of this testosterone-filled mayhem like thirsty dogs. It turns out all of this is just like a preview for some show he's putting on later. So he's doing all of this death-defying work for free right now? Bad call, Johnny Danger. For his next demonstration, he asks for a volunteer and Hobie ends up on an ATV pulling him down the road on rollerblades. I guess it's lucky that kid he randomly pulled out of the crowd knew how to drive an ATV and the stunt went off without any problems despite the only direction being go full tilt boogie down that line.
I want you to go full tilt boogie down that line.
Meanwhile, Mitch and Eyebrows are having a young people, old people competition, both of which are dated in different ways.
How can we possibly compete with slam dancing in a mosh pit, nose rings, cool dude way?
Well, what about Groovy Man and Far Out?
Not.
Mitch is speaking ironically, of course, being a mere 23 years old. While we're talking about cool young people, we're introduced to Baywatch's newest lifeguard, Neely Capshaw. Neely is barely introduced before she's making the moves on Eyebrows and acting very fakey. Hard to believe she's gonna turn out to be a bad guy. Lol, spoilers! Hey, how many plots do we have to sit through where someone is worried that proven cheater Eyebrows is gonna cheat again?
She's nice, huh? Well, I think so. Don't you?
Being an asshole is part of my charm.
Man, Neely's got no chill. Absolutely the subtlety of a wrecking ball.
Does the phone connect?
You're giving me mixed signals. What does this mean? By now, the audience is getting wise to Neely's devious overtones. Eyebrows explains that he's in a relationship with CJ, so this star-crossed romance would just never work.
You're a one-woman man, right?
Exactly. So if I steal one woman from someone else, it's okay because I was single at the time. Meanwhile, did you want some creepy adult man hanging out with kids action? Well, here you go.
So, Johnny, what's the most cars you've ever jumped?
Hey, jumping over cars ain't nothing. You should try shirtless oil wrestling. Nothing weird about it. It's just a dude thing. You take this beer. I'm straight.
Hey, Johnny, you think you should be riding after, drinking?
Hey, Slick, pop a beer and everything seems twice as good.
Yeah!
What's this? The A plot and the B plot sharing a common theme? I don't think I've seen anything so daring since like season 2. This episode really is a tour de force. So yeah, Neely is drinking on the job. Out of all the things wrong with her, this is one of them. And wouldn't you know it, someone is drowning just as she dips into the tower for a sip of some of that devil juice. Was that Southern Soother really worth it, Nellie? Soon, nefarious Neely's web becomes even more tangled. Eyebrows tells Mitch about her drinking on the job, so in order to save herself, she says no, he's the liar. He made this up in order to cover for his crime, groping her in the tower. That's right, folks, it's the old girl who cried sexual assault. A story that is as cliched as it is harmful. Hope you enjoy!
I'm so angry about this, I'm turning into an orange.
Neely's got an attorney and has filed a restraining order. Things aren't looking so good for Eyebrows. Noteworthy that she actually committed sexual assault on him earlier in the episode, which could be a thoughtful look at the high amount of male assault victims who don't report, even when compared to the staggeringly high number of unreported female assault victims, but you know, actually Baywatch wasn't even thinking about that kind of violation because evil females!
Yeehaw! I love hanging out with 13-year-olds! Nuh-uh, this guy doesn't pass the smell test. Amber alert, boys!
Garner cites Johnny Danger, yes, that's his legal name, for reckless driving. You don't pull that crap on Ellerby's beach, no sir.
That's it.
Tragically, we're saying goodbye to Garner's Daisy Dukes this week, as this was his last appearance on Baywatch proper until season 8. But not to worry, because he's riding into the sunset to star in Baywatch Nights next season. Ooh, get hyped!
Yeah, he tried to jump the fence with his horse one night. Plastered as usual. Hit the fence, broke his neck, and died.
Classic Garner, starting off scenes with humorous stories about someone falling off a horse and dying. He's telling Mitch all about how he used to idolize cowboys and loves to lasso, a facet of his character that I adore. Odd that he hates the beach, loves the city, but also is extremely passionate about horses and grew up on a ranch. Garner's backstory is murky at best. Excuse me, Garner, Mitch already knows all about lassoing, you have nothing left to teach him.
Impressed? I have no life!
In a stunning coincidence, it turns out Johnny Danger and Neely Capshaw are old pals. I shoulda known. All creepy drunks are part of an underground creepy drunk club. He takes off with her and leaves the rest of the beer for the producer sons, because nothing seems more of a thrill than spending money on alcohol and then giving it away to strange minors. Weirdest part is, this isn't even the first crazy motorcycle drunk this guy's played. I can't believe this typecasting. Now the producer sons are popping chills on the beach. How slippery is the slope? When Connor almost drowns, Hobie realizes this problem is abso-fruitly serious.
Why were there no lifeguards on duty anyway? Man, we suck.
Now that Mitch is involved, he's got to set these boys on the straight and narrow.
Frank Maletti, class president, varsity football, captain, all-around good guy, my best friend. Summer after graduation, he went body surfing at County Line. And Frank was zapped because he'd been drinking beer all day. They found his body 2 days later.
Well, there's a super party animal. His name is
Frank Maletti.
The lesson here being, I'd only be best friends with someone cool enough to drink and swim. So get started early, kids!
It's not so easy to tell the good guys from the bad guys, Mitch tells Hobie. Sometimes people who you think are your friends aren't looking out for your best interests. Which is why this episode features Johnny Danger, a borderline pedophile stunt guy and live-action Duff Man, and Neely Capshaw, a character who's failed to show any sort of friendship to anyone and is so transparently evil she's got the consistency of Saran wrap.
You know I've seen that face before. I'm not sure if I want it to be that old face I used to see.
Eyebrows is rocking a 5 o'clock shadow and brooding. You know things are serious. In a desperate bid to clear his name, he asks Neely to tell the truth, which doesn't please Johnny Danger.
You don't got any beer for minors, don't even think about coming around here! Sacred Blue, I wasn't even part of your plot! Guess what? I'm part of this now too!
You think they're mad now? Wait until they hear about Mitch's best friend in high school who died in a brunch brawl. Things have gotten so bad that the story of Eyebrows' sexual harassment has made the newspaper. This is potentially damaging for his personal life and career. Things need to be handled delicately.
I just made the papers.
Wow, it's a picture? What's a little boo-boo on your face, huh? A shaving accident?
You know, you're right, Baywatch. Sometimes you just gotta laugh, like when you're telling someone about a fatal horse riding accident. In all seriousness, though, this episode is hilarious if you find amusement in Eyebrows' suffering. Meanwhile, Chuckle Nuts is still all up in Hobie's business. I mean, this isn't just me making stuff up to be funnier. We see him surrounded by adoring adults several times in this episode, and yet he keeps tracking down this 13-year-old he barely knows to hang out. Where's Chris Hansen when you need him?
Out of the way, I somehow run a successful stunt show despite nearly running over babies. What the hell is my life?
I don't even know what to add. This scene went in 10 different directions in 30 seconds.
My drunken save!
Why you handcuffed me? I had an accident.
I don't know, man. It's kinda hard to whitewash, tearing up a pier, nearly flattening an infant, and then blowing through a railing like the Kool-Aid Man in front of dozens of witnesses.
I gave it to you, Slick.
I don't want it anymore. Slick.
The 13-year-old's rejection is by far the most sobering wake-up call for Johnny Danger. Well, now that that's been wrapped up, there's still the lingering issue of Neely, a subject that surely can be concluded in 3 minutes.
Staged cheating argument.
Angry dismissal.
Bitch slap surrender.
Bad fake crying.
How uncharacteristic of Eyebrows to cheat. That's how you know this is a ruse. Buddying up to CJ, Neely says she can get revenge by saying that he put his greasy hands all over her too. Their lies will make them lots of money in the lawsuit. But, got her with the classic tape recorder trick. She's finished.
That's why I'm a future PI, bitch.
Pfft, you're not gonna be on Nights with us.
Best lead singer.
Is he kidding? David Hasselhoff.
Well, he's big in Europe.
Anyways,
Sayonara Season 5. Now that Eyebrows' name is cleared and Neely's fired, he'll be on Baywatch Beach for years to come and will never have to deal with her again. Next season on Baywatch, Eyebrows is gone and Neely's back. Will she be able to redeem herself to the team? Meanwhile, Logan's got a fashion business now. Come on, Vogue!